course. Jeez, I wish they could do something for your eyesight.
Ugh, me too. But you heard what they said. There's nothing we can do.
When vision loss can't be corrected with glasses or surgery, and hope seems lost, turn to Spectrios Institute for Low Vision. Spectrios doctors specialize in the treatment of vision loss related to eye diseases, such as macular degeneration, glaucoma, and diabetic retinopathy. There is hope, supported by science with personalized rehabilitation plans, occupational therapies, and access technology at Spectrios. Talk to a patient service manager. They'll walk you through the program. Spectrios takes BCBS and Medicare insurance. They also have grants for qualifying patients and offer a Seeing is Believing children's outreach program. Go to spectrios.org, located in Wheaton in a building that says it all, the House of Hope. That's spectrios.org. Spectrios Institute, the head, heart, and eyes approach to better vision. Remember to keep Spectrios Institute, a 501c, in your estate or legacy planning.
Baseball and softball season will be starting soon at fields everywhere. I'm not talking about those overpriced professional palaces with the prima donnas. I'm talking about the neighborhood where the kids, Little League fields, their family, their fathers, their coaches will all be out in the sun. There's a company in Bridgeview, PYT Sports, that's working with volunteer coaches, Little League managers, and dads. Good, hardworking guys that want to help their kids and friends have a good time this summer instead of getting into trouble on the streets. PYT Sports has all the stuff you'll need to furnish dugouts and more. 2-tiered benches, helmet racks, bat racks, and individual player storage, plus windscreens and wall pads, even field tarps to protect from rain so you're ready for game time. Check out the popular Field General, Commander, and Trooper helmet and bat combos to make your dugout look like the pros. Go to pytsports.net, that's pytsports.net, and get ready for a great baseball season. Play ball!
As a local business owner, you get called every week by marketing companies. We get it. We have hundreds of satisfied customers. Here's what a satisfied client recently said.
Open enrollment is going great. We're hitting record numbers. Thank you so much for this report. It really is amazing to see how the marketing is really shaping our enrollment around the city.
If you're a local business and ready for the next step, visit surroundchicago.com right now. Our experts are ready to help you take your marketing to the next level. Visit surroundchicago.com today.
Portions of the following show may be pre-recorded.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. So did anybody get caught in that Biden snarl yesterday? The unexpected visit from Mr. 10%, the big guy, coming down from Wisconsin for a little funding confab in Chicago. And I guess I'm reading Lakeshore Drive was shut down and some people were, gridlocked, something akin to the great storm from a couple of years ago where people fled Lakeshore Drive and abandoned their cars.
Yeah, 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro, answer line 64636, type in DA, then a quick comment. Our referee for our game was really late. I mean, he's normally an hour early before the game starts. He came after the game started because you normally have two referees, but I'm just saying, and he said it was awful, and he's like, I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it. Okay. He said nobody could move. That's all he said. But yeah, it was so bad. All the local all the local newscasts, showed it. And then you had your Palestinian protesters too, Dan, because they knew he was coming. So.
Yeah, that's true. Protesting outside of the fundraising event downtown. Well, as I tried to explain to people online, you have to give the president some latitude here. I'm not one to give Biden a lot of leeway, but I'm not making excuses here. But again, some consideration for the president of the United States, because when you make surprise visits, like to visit the troops in a green zone in the Middle East, right. Just like Chicago, these hot zones that you fly into, if you're the President of the United States, you can't telegraph it because, well, it's dangerous. So for national security reasons, Baghdad, Kabul, Chicago. I mean, you can't offer advance notice that you're going to be in those areas. Because these are lawless areas with bands of warlords and they're beset by violence. And so, I mean, this is why you don't have heads of state visit these places very much, because of the concern over security. So I just, wanted to offer a little consideration for the president to show how sort of even-handed I am.
Yeah. Did you see when he landed at O'Hare? It looked like Tony Preckwinkle made out with him. She was hugging him. It was so weird.
That's a good look.
Yeah, it was.
I'm not sure that.
I think he was kind of surprised when she came running at him.
I'm not sure that she's his speed, or he's her speed. Maybe.
I don't know, but
I don't know.
I mean, she smelled his hair too. I mean, it was one of those weird hugs, Dan. I don't know how to describe it properly, but I should tweet it out.
Tony was married to that Zeus character,
right? Who had a family in Arizona.
Bared a striking resemblance to Ted Kaczynski.
Yeah, that's true.
That's more sort of her wheelhouse, if you will, when it comes to. Well, I don't really want to talk that much more about Tony Preckwinkle and men, but I'm just saying it's interesting.
Girlfriend got had, like a lot of women.
Well, speaking of the protesters that were outside of the Biden fundraising event.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see that Chicago police there's an internal investigation now into the police handling of these pro-Islamist terrorists, these pit protesters at the Art Institute? That when they had to clear them off the Art Institute campus so that the diverse docents could continue their duties around that facility, there's, somebody's feelings got hurt, and so now Chicago police again are being targeted and essentially demonized. And go clear the Art Institute. Oh, you did it wrong. And I'm not saying that you do the shoot to maim business here, or you necessarily run roughshod over them, depending on how those people who are illegally occupying an area behave. Obviously, but all of this business about being pushed out of an area you're occupying illegally, being arrested so that Kim Fox can then turn around and release you. Maybe the Art Institute pay for any. Well, that's really not in Illinois. You don't have to worry about pretrial release in Illinois. You don't have to worry about bonding out, but other places you do. Anyway, just that whole deal with the policing issue, particularly when you see, as we've seen, that not only is Chicago a training center, not only Chicago is a training center for the agitators on campus and occupying other institutions for the same purpose, like the Art Institute. We saw that with the Teamsters, right? Here's what you should chant. Here's what it means. Here's how you chant it in Arabic. This is the Teamsters contributing with the use of one of their union halls for an organizing confab, a train the trainer event. Well, we see Emory University down in Atlanta there, and I'm sure this is happening elsewhere, which is particularly caught at Emory, showing where you have these agitators, these pro-Islamist terrorist protesters that are practicing the human chains and how to otherwise confront police if and when they do come to break up an encampment, an illegal encampment, for example. So now you're having the other side be financed and trained by professional revolutionaries, and the police, who are obviously trained, have to deal with that. So it's not just like herding cats. What they're doing is purposeful and intended to impede the police's ability to do their job. And the response from the city of Chicago is to investigate the police. And BLM Brandon, to issue statements like, I talked to the University of Chicago president, and I told him, we got to make sure we let these pro-Islamist terrorist protesters have their day and have their say and so forth.
And they're complaining, too, that, on certain college campuses, they tied my hands too tight with the cuffs, and So sad, too bad. They gave you an ample warning, sometimes multiple warnings, to leave the area because you can't do that.
Yeah,
and it's the police's fault?
Well,
I knew when I saw that
on
Saturday when they were clearing it, I'm like, oh, somebody's going to file a lawsuit or say
I don't care about what these sniveling, bedwetting Ivy League students have to say, or Art Institute students for that matter. The institutional response is what we should be focused on. These one-off useful idiots mainly on college campuses. I mean, they're for entertainment purposes only. What's not entertaining is the institutional response from colleges, from high schools in some cases, school districts, and from city governments. Well, and federal governments for that matter. I mean, this stuff, like the stuff you care. Well, I mean, I'll give you an example. I mean, I'm really enjoying the Princeton hunger strike, and I hope it doesn't stop. Not just because the median weight of the hunger strikers is about 260, and they're women, but just because they're keeping us updated on all that the university isn't doing for them while they're engaged in this performative hunger strike. So yesterday we brought you the open outcry from the encampment. Where are the doctors on site to check our vitals to make sure we're not wasting away and imperiling our health, even though we're doing this of our own volition? We got another update from Princeton, New Jersey.
Exhausted. I am quite literally shaking right now, as you can see. We are both cold and hot at the same time.
Cold and hot at the same time.
Immunocompromised. And based on the university's meeting yesterday with some of our bargaining team, they would love to continue physically weakening us because they can't stand to say no to unjust murder.
We are cold and we are hot.
At the
She's
same
wearing
time,
shorts. I mean,
cold and hot at the same time. The hunger strike has an announcement. We are starving. If only there was something that somebody could do about that. Like walk 100 yards into the whatever, the campus commissary and get something to eat. But no, but you can't do that because, of course, Princeton is somehow a collaborator with a fictional genocide that isn't occurring. I mean, that Princeton, right? Again, Princeton emphasis. So, I mean,
keep it up. I want this thing to go on forever.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So that's for. I mean, what is there to say other than just to enjoy that? That's for enjoyment. That's entertainment.
Yeah, the comedy never ends. Okay.
But it is worth noting how radicalized these useful idiots are. And intemperate, all the other characteristics that go with being radicalized. So, for example, George Washington University, which has been a hotbed of this sort of nonsense, proximity to the Capitol probably has something to do with that. Although there have been counter-protesters there, too. There have been, basically communist Satanists on campus promoting America and trying to shout down the vile things that these pro-Islamist terrorists have been saying. But this is real French Revolution stuff when you're having mock trials on the campus and sending people to the gallows.
The people find you guilty. Guillotine. Guillotine. Guillotine.
Maybe it's just me, but I find chanting guillotine an odd refrain for anti-war protesters. I don't know. As I said, mainly for entertainment purposes, except for the institutional responses, the responses where we expect leadership and a restatement of first principles of a free society. And of course, we're not getting that. Coming up at 5:38, we'll turn our attention away from the entertaining kids on campus for a moment and talk a little bit about the Trump trials and the potential market impact of Manhattan. 5:38.
And later, our friend Joseph Oka at Ella Flagg Young Middle School, they're not allowed to go to the chess championship. We'll tell you why. But now let's head into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
59 degrees. We've had some light rain showers across the area, some heavier weather to our south and west. The U.S. has hit pause on a large shipment of weapons for Israel over concerns about the large-scale military offensive building near Rafah in southern Gaza. South Carolina Republican Senator Lindsey Graham panned President Biden's decision.
They're surrounded by radical Islamic terrorists that want to destroy the Jewish state, not help the Palestinians. And what is Joe Biden's response? To withhold weapons in a war that Israel cannot afford to lose.
The U.S. officials say the move is to stave off a full Israeli invasion of Rafah. At least 2 are dead in Tennessee after a day of severe weather. Tornado sirens were going off across several southern states Wednesday night. 4 tornadoes alone reported south of Nashville.
I told my wife to, hey, let's get in the bathroom, and so we did. And she was listening to the news, and it said it was a touchdown. And of course, you start getting nervous, like truly nervous at that point.
Officials in Maury County say at least 1 person was killed, 4 others injured after a large and destructive tornado touched down near the town of Spring Hill. President Biden campaigned in the critical battleground state of Wisconsin yesterday.
Since I took office, we've added nearly 4,000 jobs in Racine. As I said earlier, we've added 178,000 in the state of Wisconsin. The unemployment rate has hit a record low in Racine.
The president highlighting his partial role in jumpstarting a $3.3 billion investment by Microsoft. Lawmakers in the House voted on an effort to remove the Speaker of the House, Fox's Ryan Schmelz.
Over 350 members voting to block a motion to vacate House Speaker Mike Johnson. The attempt to oust the Speaker came from Georgia Republican Marjorie Taylor Greene, who believes Johnson has failed to push a conservative agenda.
So while selfish members of Congress are complaining about chaos, the American people are going broke. The American people are sick of their crime-infested cities.
43 voted against killing the motion, including 11 Republicans. Former President Trump released a statement saying he opposed ousting Johnson. On Capitol Hill, Ryan Schmelz, Fox News.
A man killed in a crash on DuSable Lakeshore Drive early this morning. Chicago police tell us a 20-year-old man was driving on Lakeshore Drive North near the Lakeview neighborhood just after midnight when he swerved to avoid hitting another vehicle. Pro-Palestinian protesters in Chicago voiced their displeasure with President Biden and his policies.
We're poised to bring tens of thousands into the streets, maybe as many as 100,000 into the streets to protest the DNC and to tell Biden and Kamala and Blinken and all of them that they're complicit here.
Meantime, the governor is dismissing a report his family is indirectly funding pro-Palestinian groups that have set up encampments on campuses across the nation.
I think you should go read the Rolling Stone story that came out after it, which debunks all of the Politico story.
However, the Pritzker-backed Tides Foundation is fiscally supporting the Abdallah Justice Project, according to the Tides Foundation website. Tides supports the Libra Foundation, which, according to Politico, has set up encampments around the country. Mayor Brandon Johnson spent Wednesday lobbying state lawmakers for more financial support. Johnson in Springfield making a pitch for more state funding for CPS.
We know that the conservative estimate of what the city of Chicago deserves is $1.1 billion.
Meantime, he also spent time discussing the Bears' multi-billion-dollar domed stadium proposal. Cubs managed just 1 hit in a 3-0 loss to San Diego. White Sox beat Tampa Bay 4-1. Stanley Cup playoffs. Panthers pummel the Bruins 6-1. Canucks a win over the Oilers 5-4. 5:35 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Brandon Tatum can see the trick.
Joe Biden wrote on X,
complaining about the disparity in earnings between male and female, and he's being disingenuous. These people on the left, these Democrats, are pushing an agenda that's not rooted in facts and reality. They're trying to do their best with abortion, wage gap, and all this other stuff to turn out female voters to vote for them.
The Officer Tatum Show, weeknights at 8, right before Sean Hannity at 10 on AM 560. The Answer.
This Mother's Day, treat the mom in your life to a day she'll never forget with brunch at the Trump International Hotel and Tower in beautiful downtown Chicago. Brunch reservations are available now for Sunday, May 12th, with seatings from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. in the Grand Ballroom. Experience an exquisite meal in a buffet style. Feast at the decadent carving, omelet, and dessert stations. Enjoy drink specials, live entertainment, complimentary champagne, and a beautiful rose garden backdrop for memorable photos. There's no better place to celebrate this Mother's Day than as guests of Trump Chicago, where you'll find the most iconic views of the Chicago skyline. Delight in this one-of-a-kind extravaganza. Make your reservations today by visiting eventbrite.com and search Mother's Day Brunch, Trump Chicago. That's Eventbrite, search Mother's Day Brunch, Trump Chicago, and order your tickets today. Cheers!
When the storms hit Chicagoland this spring and your home or business has water damage, ProTech Restoration is ready 24/7. The certified team at ProTech Restoration will be there quickly and work directly with your insurance. But even in between the storms, if you come across water in your basement, bathroom, or kitchen due to leaking pipes, an appliance breakdown, or sump pump failure, know that ProTech Restoration has seen it all and knows what to do. They are a leading Chicagoland emergency water damage cleanup, repair, and restoration company, offering 24-hour rapid response. They'll clean up, extract, repair, even do a total build back. Search online for ProTech Restoration in Elk Grove Village and check out their Google reviews. To get your free on-site evaluation and estimate, visit protechwaterdamage.com. That's ProTech waterdamage.com. Servicing the entire Chicagoland. ProTech Restoration. Experience, transparency, trust. ProTechWaterDamage.com.
Hi, this is Pastor Calvin from Christian Liberty Academy in Arlington Heights. It is time to get your children and grandchildren out of the godless government schools. How can we subject our loved ones to forced, ungodly psychological examinations and perverse sexual teachings? You would not send your child to a school that teaches 2 + 2 is 5. What is being taught today is far worse and damaging to minds and hearts. We can help through our on-campus Christian school and homeschool program. For over 55 years, we have operated a Christian school now in Arlington Heights, and we have served hundreds of thousands of families across our nation and foreign countries through our homeschool program, Christian Liberty Homeschools. Visit ChristianLiberty.com to learn more or to schedule a tour of our excellent 12-acre facility. Take action today. Visit ChristianLiberty.com, ChristianLiberty.com.
Don't pay retail for your diamond engagement ring or gift. Come to CleanOrigin.com.
It's 5:39. A check of the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. Tri-State southbound at 159th. A right lane block with an accident involving a semi. Roadwork blocking I-80 eastbound between Shepley and I-55. That roadwork is set up in a right-hand lane. Bishop Ford already stop-and-go traffic inbound between 115th and the Dan Ryan. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. Now your official Chicagoland weather forecast. In our ReviveYourLawn.com weather center, cloudy, breezy, cooler, occasional rain and drizzle, and a high of 57. Cloudy tonight with a possible shower around and a low of 47. Rain 59 at O'Hare, 59 Midway, rain 59 in Aurora, 56 along Chicago's lakefront. Your next news update is at 6. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios.
Only the biggest stories, only the biggest guests, and only the biggest opinions. This is AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. So there is a new study out on the Pritzker Purge Law, the Orwellian entitled Safety Act.
Okay.
Loyola University researchers finding that, imagine this, that the new no-cash bail system in Illinois is producing fair results.
Oh, come on.
And is making victims safer. That's what Reinhardt of Lake County said. Victims are safer because of the release of, in many cases, people charged with and previously convicted of violent crimes. Interesting.
Well, that's a strange twist on that. Isn't Reinhardt and Kim Foxer the only two state's attorneys that were for this act, right? 2 out of 102.
Yeah, and they were for the original version.
Oh, that's right.
As was Jelly Belly, as was the entire General Assembly, until we made a big issue of it and brought it to the public's attention in the 2022 election year, thanks to the help of some state's attorneys like Jim Glasgow in particular, but others as well who were willing to speak up on it, sheriffs around Illinois as well. A study based on courtroom observations by Loyola University researcher. An observational study by Loyola. Found pretrial hearings before the reforms averaged 4 to 6 minutes in the 4 counties studied. After the reforms, most hearings increased by just a minute or so when a person's release was uncontested. Well, right. If both sides are not contesting the release of somebody, then there's not much to talk about. I mean, other than if the judge thinks both the prosecution and defense are upside down. Okay. Detention, and by the way, this is not how you measure the justice system necessarily, but in terms of the idea of is this going to create a backload of cases and so forth. Detention hearings saw a significant jump with median lengths of 10 to 30 minutes, so say these observational researchers. But here's the upshot, right? What's the recidivism, or not even recidivism, is that they have not been convicted of something, but the incidence of another crime allegedly being committed while they are waiting trial for a crime they allegedly committed.
Right.
People
okay, go on.
People who are released have continued to show up for hearings. This reported to the Loyola researchers. This is memorialized in a NPR Times state-run media piece. People released have continued to show up for hearings with an arrest warrant being issued in only about 10% of the cases when someone fails to show up. 88% of people released have not been charged with a new crime. Of those who were, 4% picked up a case for a crime involving violence. Advocates of the reforms note that both of those things happen under the old money system as well. So, but this is supposed to be a reform. So if it's basically the same as the old money system, then why'd you get away with it? Why don't we look a little bit deeper at the old system and the judgment calls that people like judges and prosecutors are making when it comes to releasing people who go on to commit a violent crime? Isn't that the issue? Judges have granted detention petitions from prosecutors about 60% of the time. Again, this is observational. The Safety Act, the Pritzker Purge Law, has only been in effect for about 6 months. And what this really is, in my estimation, I'm just even taking this as accepted. There's all sorts of problems with drawing sweeping conclusions from this. But even taking this as accepted, this is just propaganda. This is basically a statistical way to try to say crime's going down. The justice system is working better. Everything's fine.
Yeah, vote for Biden because everything's fine.
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line.
I don't know how they can just make the blank statement of victims are safer. What fact-based evidence do they have on that? How are victims safer?
You're going to have to ask Reinhardt about that. I don't know. He just made that statement, and I mean, this is what they do. They make declarations. They don't really need to provide much evidence because, I mean, they're talking to the NPR Times. It's not like there's going to be pushback or a demand for supporting logic or information. No, of course not. But even if you take these data points at face value, 88% of people have not been charged with a new crime.
We're supposed to celebrate that?
So, right. So 12% of those who are released are charged with another crime upon their release, pending the adjudication of the case for which they were released.
Those are preventable crimes. And if you ask any of those victims who were victimized by those people, they would agree.
Well, that's it. It's the preventable crimes issue. 4% picked up a case for a crime involving violence. By the way, when you're talking about numbers of people being arrested that are in the tens of thousands, a small percentage of a big number can be a big problem, and Chicago has a big problem. I don't know if you've noticed. I know they're trying not to notice, but it doesn't change anything. So, for example, these stories, I know they're anecdotal, but they're also real, and it represents real victims and real perpetrators and real failures of the justice system. I mean, and they're daily, as most people know. Prosecutors say 2 men, including one on electronic monitoring for burglary and gun charges.
It's just an ornament on their ankles now, yes.
Committed a particularly violent armed home invasion and robbery last week. Oh, really? The guy on electronic monitoring for burglary and gun charges, particularly violent armed home invasion and robbery. Mm-hmm. Officials say both men pointed guns at a man in the 2700 block of West 12th Place, taking his jewelry, keys, and shoes, then forced him to bring them into his nearby home, even though they knew young children were inside. One of the dudes pointed a gun at the man's head, while the other dude held a gun to the victim's side as they threatened to kill him. At least one child saw the assault. One of the dudes had previously been placed on 24-hour curfew with electronic monitoring. That was just a couple months ago in March after prosecutors charged him with gun possession and trying to steal a car. His ankle monitor's GPS data indicated he was at the home invasion scene at the time of the crime because, of course, he's a master criminal, like most of them are. So those kind of stories. And, well, this kind of story that is particularly gruesome. The guy who kidnapped a 15-year-old and sexually abused her for 5 months.
Oh, God.
So you saw this?
Where did this happen? I'm sorry, I can't keep up.
He kidnapped a 15-year-old girl in December while she was walking to her home in Chicago. He kept asking if she wanted a ride until she relented, got in his car. Oh, no. She was pressed to drink alcohol, take drugs, and then was unconscious. Yeah. She awoke naked in the man's basement and was held against her will for nearly 5 months while she was repeatedly sexually assaulted by this guy. He'd been arrested 52 times.
What?
So chant that. 52 arrests. 52 arrests. 52. Right. And these stories are frequent. Do they represent a majority of the crimes committed in Chicago?
52.
No. But there's a small group of people who are representing a pretty significant plurality of crimes committed in Chicago. And it doesn't seem like, I don't know, after 52 arrests, I mean, I know everybody deserves a 53rd chance, but it doesn't seem like the observational researchers at Loyola have a response to that, so they bury it in data. It's only a small percentage. I know. I agree it's a small percentage. Most people are law-abiding. The problem is what the institutional response, here we go again, what the institutional response is to that small group of people that are repeat violent offenders, that are predators. And when you have story after story of this, when you have series like CWB Chicago has done the last several years,
God bless
the number of people being charged with a felony who've killed or attempted to kill somebody while out pending their felony trial, I mean, the number over the last 3 years, numbers in the hundreds of crimes committed, and I'm sure north of 100 deaths when it comes to that universe of crime over the last 3 years. So probably 3 figures worth of deaths and mid 3 figures worth of violent crimes, killing or attempting to kill somebody, that could have been prevented if you restrained, or if you, I should say, detained most of these individuals who are repeat offenders for trial. And so that's a small percentage. 100 people in a city of 2.7 million and going down 2.6 probably now, 2.4. I don't know. But that's a small number of people. Yeah, I know. And it's a small number of people who've been victimized, even if they haven't been murdered. Yeah, I know. But it's a big problem. And, 100 deaths and many hundreds more whose death was attempted. I mean,
what about the whole, if it saves one life?
Well, right. Their hypocrisy on that.
Yeah.
But I mean, you just can't like idly walk by that. I mean, it has impact beyond the person who is victimized because, for obvious reasons, but it also contributes to an overall culture or the disintegration of an overall culture of that would feature the rule of law, for example, or that would make the city attractive to locate to for a business or even a resident, for example. It's just a cheap way to walk past the failure of the political leadership in this state and the city, is what I'm saying. Frank in Tinley Park, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Morning, Dan. Naperville's got a big crime wave, it seems, at Top Golf driving range.
Yep.
Yeah. Arrested 18 people.
Is it up to 18 now?
Yeah. And then the owner was on interviewed with CBS News and said, well, just so you guys know, this is not taking place inside Top Golf. It's in the parking lot, weapons found in people's cars. Right. And they made their 18th arrest yesterday. I mean, they need to shut that thing down or something.
Well, thanks for the call, Frank. Well, I've seen some of the stories about that. It's not happening inside; it's in the parking lot.
A guy from Coal City drove all the way to Naperville. Whatever.
Well, okay, but it's happening in the parking lot, not inside. Are people parachuting in to Top Golf, or are they driving there?
Yeah, those people with the weapons in their car are using your facility, sir, and they're parking on the land that you own.
Well, and
that's your responsibility. Sorry.
Well, by the way, everybody else who goes there and is not a criminal, is also using the parking lot.
Right.
And I mean, it's his responsibility to some extent. I mean, what do you want him to do? Put metal detectors out front of the parking lot and have people do sweeps?
Well, it's not only guns. There's a surge of drugs that are being confiscated and a number of stolen vehicles that are there as well.
Yeah, well, okay.
It gets better.
Why is that on the business owner?
I mean,
if he's taking reasonable precautions, it's not on the business owner. You sound like Lori Lightfoot. It's not on the business owner. It's emblematic of a culture of lawlessness. This is what I'm talking about, and it's good that Naperville police are being proactive. They know they've got a problem spot, and they're obviously heightening their presence if they're doing these checks, if they've made this many arrests for guns and drugs and so forth. But of course it's happening in Naperville and elsewhere. I mean,
and the Naperville officers, the guns are in plain view, so they see them in the vehicle, and then
master criminals.
Yeah.
Marvin in Burlington, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Yeah, I just wonder, all these studies are the same kind of thing the Soviet Union used to do. They'd have these academics who were steeped in Marxism, make up studies, and use to twist numbers and to present a certain point of view and tasks and prompt that would report it. I just wonder how long before society doesn't believe anything that the news media says. I mean, they did in the Soviet Union. They all knew that their news media was corrupted by the state, and they would listen to Radio Free Europe. And how long before that happens in this country?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, thanks for the call, Marvin. I mean, it's happened in some quarters. There's a lot of people who say, like, this reporting, like, oh, only 13% of Americans trust the media and stuff. Well, that's a bit misleading because they say they don't. You hear a lot of people say, I don't trust the Chicago Press Corps. And then there's some salacious story in the Chicago Press, and they're like, did you see that? I'm like, so you're starting from the premise of trust or mistrust? If you're starting from the premise of mistrust, then you need to apply that uniformly, right? I know ultimately we have to believe in something. We have to believe some things are real. We have to find things that we can corroborate and understand to be the case. And we can do a lot of observational understanding of what reality is, just like those Loyola researchers did too. And people are definitely doing that. But I mean, I still think it's for all the stats about how the loss of credibility of the press corps, basically. It's the populace, particularly in urban centers, not nearly skeptical enough. Not nearly skeptical enough. Dan and Amy, Chicago's Morning Answer.
You're listening to Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Think identity theft won't happen to you? Think again. There's a new victim every 3 seconds in the U.S., over 15 million this year alone, and many don't even know they're victims. LifeLock alerts you to identity threats you could miss even when you monitor your credit. If your identity's stolen, a dedicated U.S.-based restoration specialist will work to fix it. No one can prevent all identity theft, but everyone can save up to 25% their first year with my name, Clay, as the promo code at LifeLock.com.
And Doug.
Being a spokesperson's easy, kid. Just say, customize and save with Liberty Mutual.
Customize and save with Liberty Bibberty.
That's not it.
Liberty Mutual. Liberty Musical.
Nope.
Lumberty, line.
It's 2 words. Liberty Mutual.
Got it. Don't not pay at libertymuttnoodle.com.
Wow. I guess I'll just do it.
Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
That's a wrap.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Underwritten by Liberty Mutual Insurance Company and Affiliates.
All right. If you've been in business for a number of years, it's likely your company has grown in every department. You've probably added your sales team, increased your client base, and now have multiple locations. But there's one area that could stop your growth right in its tracks if it's not protected, and that's your network's data. As you've grown, you've likely evolved your basic network over time, putting your company at risk to cyber attacks, one that could fold up your business in just hours. And it's not just your server that you need to worry about. It's the full infrastructure of your business. Think about your precious customer data, your employees' devices, those smartphones, and all of your technology. Every day, more than 30,000 websites are hacked, and 2/3 of companies globally have experienced at least one type of cyber attack. So don't be a statistic. Defend your business, your customers, your employees, and your future growth with our good friends at Turnkey. And it's called Turnkey's Real-Time Threat Hunting Protection. Again, Turnkey's Real-Time Threat Hunting Protection. Turnkey has a solution to protect your business. So start a conversation today. Visit turnkey.pro. That's turnkey.pro.
AM 560. The Answer.
All right. Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
What happens when the pro-Islamist terrorist kids team up with the migrants? We'll find out in Denver at 6:06.
Oh, yeah. You're not going to want to miss that story. So now let's head into the newsroom. He's back. Mike Scott, welcome back. I know you were gone for one day, but we really missed you yesterday.
I'm very glad. It's
good to be missed.
It's good to be missed. Yeah. Good to be gone. An accident claims a life on Lakeshore Drive overnight. We'll have details on that developing story for you while protesters gather outside a Joe Biden fundraiser here in Chicago. City Council Committee is advancing Mayor Brandon Johnson's pick for the RTA board in spite of major pushback, while the mayor was lobbying lawmakers in Springfield. National Weather Service confirms a tornado touchdown in McHenry County. WIND Chicago News Time, 6.
President Biden puts his foot down. I'm Chris Foster, Fox News. He says that the Israeli military launches a full-scale military assault in Rafah in southern Gaza, he will withhold more shipments of large American bombs and artillery shells that he says could kill civilians in urban neighborhoods. The decision's criticized by some Republicans in Congress and politicians there.
Hamas heart Biden, a pithy post on the social media platform X from Israel's far-right national security minister, Itamar Ben-Gvir, responding to President Biden's warning that weapons supplies will be partly stopped if there's a full-scale assault on Rafah in southern Gaza. That's something Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu believes is essential to completely defeat Hamas. Israel's UN ambassador says if President Biden goes through with his threat, it'll have a big impact on the war. Hundreds of thousands of Palestinians have sought refuge in Rafah. Jonathan Savage, Fox News.
Stormy Daniels expected back on the stand for a second day of testimony at former President Trump's criminal hush money trial in New York. The former adult film star was paid to keep quiet about a one-night stand he says never happened a few months after his wife Melania had their son Barron. And now Barron is making his official political debut.
The 18-year-old was selected to serve as a Florida delegate to the Republican National Convention that takes place in Wisconsin this summer. Barron Trump is graduating from high school next week. He will join other Trump family members already in the Florida delegation, including Donald Trump Jr., Eric Trump, and Trump's youngest daughter, Tiffany. They'll all be gathering at the convention in Milwaukee from July 15th through July 18th. It's where former President Donald Trump is expected to be officially nominated as the 2024 GOP presidential candidate. Sue Guzman, Fox News.
There's a tornado watch in Georgia, North Carolina, and Tennessee. At least 4 people have died in storms since Monday. More than 250,000 homes and businesses are without power. America's listening to Fox News.
Light rain showers, 59 degrees, 6:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. A man was killed in a crash on DuSable Lakeshore Drive early this morning. Chicago police report a 20-year-old man was driving north on Lakeshore Drive near the Lakeview neighborhood when he swerved to avoid striking another vehicle. A passenger in that car was severely injured, then transported to Northwestern Memorial Hospital and later pronounced dead. Pro-Palestinian protesters in Chicago voicing their displeasure with President Biden and his policies.
We're poised to bring tens of thousands into the streets, maybe as many as 100,000 into the streets to protest the DNC and to tell Biden and Kamala and Blinken and all of them that they're complicit here.
Hatem Abudeyev. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker is dismissing a report that his family is indirectly funding pro-Palestinian and pro-Hamas groups that have set up encampments on college campuses across the nation.
I think you should go read the Rolling Stone story that came out after it, which debunks all of the Politico story.
However, the Pritzker-backed Tides Foundation is fiscally supporting the Abdallah Justice Project. According to the Tides Foundation website, Tides supports the Libra Foundation, which, according to the Political reporting, has set up the encampments around the country. Encampment protests at universities across the Chicago area are raising some red flags for a few law enforcement groups, as well as claims of excessive force from protest groups. 5 of the complaints filed with the Chicago Civilian Office of Police Accountability were from the protest in front of the Art Institute. Mayor Brandon Johnson spent Wednesday lobbying state lawmakers for more financial support, making a pitch for more state funding for CPS and more money to replace lead water lines.
Specific demands and asks that we have that can actually help address that. You know, again, making sure that we're focusing in on our child care providers. Our young people and babies are most vulnerable when it comes to exposure to lead.
Chicago sports found the Cubs blanked by the Padres 3-0 at Wrigley Field, while the White Sox beat Tampa Bay 4-1. Road to the NBA Finals continues. Knicks over the Pacers 130-121. 6:04 is our time. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Mike Gallagher doesn't think now is the time.
I have to plead guilty to avoiding the drama around Speaker Johnson, and let me tell you why. Trying to replace him before the election would be a disaster. It would be political suicide for the Republican Party. Well, it got a lot of momentum. The last thing we need to do is have another fiasco of replacing Mike Johnson before the election.
The Mike Gallagher Show, weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
Parents, grandparents, you might want to be sitting down because this is amazing news. Imagine the student in your family not asking you for money to pay for college, or better yet, not getting into years and years of debt. How's this possible? Scholarships.com, a trusted and widely used scholarship platform that helps your student find scholarships and navigate the financial aid process. Get help to pay for college through a personalized list of scholarships that your student actually qualifies for. Better yet, every scholarship is vetted to ensure accuracy. And now the best part, drum roll please, it's absolutely free. Go to scholarships.com today. Both students and parents can join for free. And within minutes, receive your list of personalized scholarship matches. Check out the wealth of information and resources available at no cost. And read the fantastic reviews from other scholarship winners. Scholarships.com has helped over 23 million students and families find scholarships to help pay for college. And will help you too. Join scholarships.com today for free. That's scholarships.com.
Hi, I'm Martha Stewart. Every year, more than 4 million pets enter shelters here in the United States. My friends at American Humane have been helping animals since 1877. The goal is to ensure that pets have a safe shelter, especially during natural disasters. Adopting a shelter pet allows shelters to help more animals awaiting care. Please consider adopting today and take some time to learn more about American Humane's other work at americanhumane.org.
Hey everyone, it's Ted from Consumer Cellular, the guy in the orange sweater, and this is your wake-up call. If you're paying too much for wireless service, you don't have to keep having that nightmare. Consumer Cellular has the same fast, reliable coverage as the leading carriers for less. And for a limited time, new customers receive their second month free when they sign up and use promo code MONTHFREE by May 31st. So why keep spending more than you have to? Seriously, wake up and call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com.
Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
I'm the guy that never gives 5 stars because I never believe that anything is perfect. But I would give them 20 stars if I could.
Ernest Stella Review belongs to QC Kinetics, the nation's leader in regenerative treatments. They came through when he badly needed relief for his aching knees, and doctors had told him that surgery was the only option.
What they're doing is cutting edge, and it really helps. And I'm a tough sell.
QC Kinetics is led by National Medical Director Dr. Mitchell Scheinkup, a pioneer in this field. With 20 years of clinical work, tons of research, teaching, publishing in non-surgical natural pain treatments. These are the medical pros to trust.
I'm living my life basically pain-free from what I was dealing with, so I'm a happy camper today, no doubt about it.
QC Kinetics. Call today to see if you're a candidate.
Call QC Kinetics, 312-809-5955. That's 312-809-5955. 312-809-5955.
6:08. Let's get an update on the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. Kennedy inbound already 45, O'Hare into the Burns Circle interchange. Ike in 36 from 390 to the old post office. Stevenson inbound 29 in from the Tri-State to DuSable Lakeshore Drive. I-57 and the Bishop Ford are jamming into the Ryan merge, and an accident has just been cleared. Tri-State southbound right at 159. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast in our ReviveYourLawn.com Weather Center. Here is Steve Williams.
Clouds breezy and cooler. Rain and drizzle mainly early today. High 57. Cloudy tonight. Showers until after midnight. Low 47. Partly sunny, warmer tomorrow. Can't rule out a shower. High tomorrow afternoon at 64. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560. The Answer.
59 and light rain right now. Next news at 6:30. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560. The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Time now for another reason why Dan Proft is single.
Bring it in, kiddies.
On this installment of Why Dan Proft is Single, it's because he wants to play a full round of golf. Let me explain.
Okay.
And by the way, this segues into the presidential campaign.
Oh, well, of course it does.
Right, so it's going to be exciting.
Everything does.
So
do tell. Wait, let me get in here and relax and hear your story.
So there's a member at a club that I belong to, who is also a member. This is a pretty quick one, actually. Who's also a member at a club in Fort Myers.
Okay, which isn't far away. Right?
Southwest Florida, right? Mm-hmm. So he had a house on the course on this club that he belongs to in Fort Myers.
So we're not using names of clubs, I take it?
I don't want to give too much away.
Okay, all right.
I mean, I guess.
So
I
we have a
could
club
say
in. Well, no, we'll just keep it simple. We have a club in Naples, and we have a club in Fort Myers.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And he has a house on the club in Naples.
He has a house on the club in Fort Myers.
Okay, got it.
Or he did.
Oh no.
Because he got divorced.
Oh.
Okay, that's fine. And so he, part of the divorce settlement, the wife gets the house on this course in Fort Myers.
Are kids involved?
I don't know all those details.
Okay.
That's much less important than what I'm about to tell you next.
Okay.
So
they get divorced.
She had a restraining order against him.
Oh.
You know, these things happen in divorces.
No, I know. Divorces are so ugly, and people allege things that aren't true sometimes just for spite.
Yeah.
And they're angry, and they do things out of character because you've never been through a situation like that before.
Right. That's a voice of experience speaking.
You damn right it is.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Darn right. Is that?
No, you can say damn. It's fine.
I'm
We're talking
getting
about
a
divorce.
potty mouth lately.
Yeah,
I
we
don't
can
know
talk about
what's wrong
divorce.
with
It gets a little chippy. I get it. So he gets divorced. There's a restraining order that's in force. And she has the house on the course in Fort Myers. So he can't play the 9th hole on the course that he belongs to.
Because the house is on the 9th hole.
Right. And it's within the radius of the order of protection.
Oh, no.
So.
Oh, my God. Well,
he belongs to a club. And by the way, this just in. Apparently, it was not an amicable divorce. In case the order of protection didn't tip it off, the fact that she would actually seek to enforce it such that he couldn't play a full round of golf at the club that he belongs to, where his former home is situated, that you have to skip from 8 to 10. I mean, I've never heard
or can he
of
play
anything
number
like
8
that.
twice?
Well, yeah, but the guys you're playing with probably don't want to play number 8 twice.
Well, wait. Then how does he? I mean, can
he has a 17-hole handicap, or at least he did for a time.
wait. So then when he's done with the 8th, how does he
apparently
just
he has to go?
over?
Apparently he has to go right to 10 or right to jail. One of the two.
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. You can also reach us on our text line anytime with your bad divorce stories at 64636. Type in DA, then a quick comment.
I mean, that's just one of the great. I've never
Wow.
heard of something. I mean, it's not big financial this or whatever. I've just never heard of something so petty as that. And I don't know the backstory on the order of protection and what the allegations but I mean,
well, did she purpose? Here's the thing: do we know she purposely did this so that he couldn't play the 9th hole?
No, but I mean, I have no idea. But the fact that was the effect, and the fact that she had to be serious enough about its enforcement to execute the order of protection if he was on the 9th fairway and was in the range, and she's on the phone to Fort Myers local. So, I mean, I guess I get. We're talking about this with somebody too. It's like I get. He'd probably want to like if you're playing a money game or you're in a match. I bet for the time now this is no longer in force. I think he can play 9 again.
Okay.
So a full 18 at this club. But I mean, if you're like in a match or you're playing for money, you want to start at 10 because you need to try to close out before you get around. Because otherwise you start out down 1, basically. Yeah.
That is a good reason why Dan Proft is single.
It really is. I mean, that's just, you pay for a house on the course, you pay for this club, you're still a member of the club, you give the house as part of the settlement, and then you can't even, I mean, and then it's not that, the house isn't enough of a reminder of things going sideways, but now I can't even play. All right. Well, this gives me to RFK Jr., and what he said in a deposition during his divorce from his second wife.
Wait, so this one Cheryl's his third wife?
I think so. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
He said in a 2012 deposition that he has health issues caused by a worm that got into my brain and ate a portion of it and then died.
Yeah, I saw Dr. Sanjay Gupta holding a brain and talking about worms that die in your brain.
Right. Yeah.
I was wondering, what is going on here? What is it?
It's a public health crisis. So why did he say that? Because it has negatively impacted his earning potential. So he was trying to get his payout down in the divorce from his second wife. Worm that got into my brain, ate a portion of it, and then died. RFK Jr.'s poisonous brain matter.
Are you buying that?
What's with the Kennedys and brain? No,
hey,
won't even go there. He also said
worm.
that he suffered from mercury poisoning.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, this guy's lucky to be alive.
But a dead parasite in your brain? I mean, how does one get it out? Is this just your new buddy?
I'll tell you.
Your pet worm?
It just, I don't know. I mean, his PETA friends may file a wrongful death suit on behalf of the brain worm, but the...
Yeah, well, he said, so the worm ate part of his brain, causing memory loss and mental fogginess. Yeah. And it then died. The end.
But he's fine now. The worm is not, the parasite in RFK Jr.'s brain does not negatively impact his ability to be president of the United States. He wants you to know.
Well, Dr. Gupta, he said he is, he's an experienced neurosurgeon. He said that he has removed parasitic worms, from patients.
Yeah, I have no doubt.
He said it's very rare, but it does occur.
Yeah.
Among individuals who consume undercooked pork. Was I just trying to make a pig noise?
Yeah.
I was, yeah.
I just, could this presidential race get any more bizarre?
I know.
Yeah, RFK. And also, I mean, the lengths you go to try to protect assets in these proceedings.
And I'm sorry, I don't mean to put you on the spot, but his voice is...
That's a neurological condition.
Is that from the brain, from the worm,
I don't know if that's
though?
worm related. I don't think that's worm related. I think that precedes the worm. I don't think the worm eating part of his brain helped. But that's what
are we going to name the worm?
This is going to, by the way, this is going to be the new political excuse that's used, and you'll just dummy up MRIs. For anybody I offended, I want to apologize. But a worm has eaten part of my brain.
Yeah.
And it's caused some cognitive impairment. But I'm fine to stay in whatever position I'm trying to keep. I just want you to know. The worm ate my brain excuse. Tony on the South Side, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Tony.
Good morning, Amy, Lamb, and Dan. In terms of marriage, you always hear about, well, not in terms of marriage, but, you always are saying 3 times the charm, right? In terms of marriage, I'm going to say 4. Here's the reason why.
Why?
Here's the reason why. I remember hearing an interview with Mickey Rooney when he spoke about his 5th wife, Barbara Ann Thompson, being murdered. Okay, so that's 5. So 3, 4 times is a charm. 5, no can do. That's why Dan's not married. Take care, guys.
Thanks for the call, Tony. Steve in Lake Geneva.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. Love you guys. You're my morning intelligent humor. The guy in Naples, at least now he can break 80 a little easier. Did him a favor.
Well, yeah, you would think, but technically, if he wants to keep a GIN handicap, he's got to take an X on 8, and so he's got to take the max he can take, so double or triple, depending on how good. So, thanks for the call, Steve. But that's probably the good news because it inflates his handicap. Because I'm sure he wouldn't get a double or triple on 8 every time he played. So yeah,
I like how you're thinking that out. Hey, if you ever do get married, can I be your flower girl?
No.
And Justin and Quinn and I want to start a Congo line.
That'll be fun. I may get married just for that. Larry in Elmhurst.
Hey, good morning. This could be a divorce thing if you fed your wife raw pork because if you go on YouTube, you can look at, if you pour Pepsi or Coke on raw pork, you can see the parasites come out of the meat.
Oh, gross.
Well, check it out.
No, thanks for the call, Larry. Yeah, all right. I mean, I don't know if that's how RFK Jr. got his brain worm, was raw pork. I mean, you're just saying that...
No, that's what Dr. Gupta said.
Yeah.
That's the times that he's a neurologist, and he has gotten dead worms out, and in all the cases, it was a worm from undercooked pork.
Yeah, but that would be in your digestive system. How
But
does
it gets...
how does the worm get in your brain?
You're asking me.
Yeah, why? You're the Dr. Gupta correspondent.
Well, he had this brain out that would look like a multicolored bowling ball brain, and he just talked about how we go into the brain to get the worm out. But I don't know how the worm gets up there, but it does. Maybe it's a safe, warm spot for the worm, Dan.
Yeah.
You know?
The worm ate my brain.
And I can't
The RFK Jr. story.
Yeah.
Dan and Amy, Chicago's Morning Answer.
It's news, opinion, insight. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6745. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. There is zero risk to you. If we can't reduce your tax debt, then you pay nothing. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have a 5-star rating on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6745. That's 800-575-6745. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Hey, Dan, maybe your buddy can come and play at our golf outing. Because he can play all 18 holes in a scramble. It'd be great.
He can. We got a text from 847. I bet you measured the distance from the house, made sure it was included in the order. No question. It's easy to do. You just gun it.
Yeah.
I mean, these days, you just got it. Yeah, okay. Yeah, honey, if I stay to the right center fairway, if I stay, right of center fairway, no?
No.
I bet she gunned it all the way to, the hole on the other side or the out of bounds or whatever it is to make sure that 8 was taken out. I have no doubt.
Oh, my gosh. Women. Okay. Our annual golf outing, by the way, that your friend is more than welcome to come to, is on Wednesday, June 19th at the McRae Memorial Golf Club in Barrington. It's sponsored by Signature Bank, and this year, once again, we're partnering with the Tunnel to Towers Foundation. It's a great organization. They provide for our first responders and our military heroes, including our homeless vets. So proceeds from the golf outing goes to them. We have foursomes. We have twosomes available. And when you join us, you get a full day of golf, wonderful meals. It's a beautiful course, very challenging. But we're also going to have prizes for the winning foursome, longest drive closest to the pin, as well as a silent auction. And if you own a business or make the marketing decisions for a company, you will receive for free an AM 560 marketing package that includes 25 one-minute commercials. That's great. There's no deal like that in Chicagoland radio. And the commercials, too, are going to run Monday through Friday. We're not going to stick you on the weekends. And then you'll also get a free digital marketing analysis. So we'll be golfing in the afternoon. Sean will be trying to golf in the morning. So get your foursome together or your twosome and go to 560theanswer.com/golf. That's 560theanswer.com/golf. Sponsored in part by Control Point Engineering, Waukegan Roofing, and Crosscom Public Adjusters.
Welcome to a getaway like no other. The Maplewood Hotel in the heart of Saugatuck, Michigan. Built in the 1860s during Michigan's lumberman's era, our boutique bed and breakfast offers a warmth and charm that are amplified by its rich history. Our cozy rooms are designed for comfort, ensuring a restful night's sleep after a day of exploring all that Saugatuck has to offer. Discover the vibrant art scene, stroll through local shops, and indulge in delicious local cuisine, all just steps away from the Maplewood Hotel. Whether you're planning a romantic weekend or organizing a business retreat, we have the perfect rooms for you. We're conveniently located just over 2 hours from Chicago. Stay 3 or more nights and get a discount of 15% off rack room rates in 2024 when you use the code word Chicago Radio. Must book directly with hotel to receive the discount. Visit maplewoodhotel.com today before our summer bookings sell out. Again, that's maplewoodhotel.com.
In the fast-paced rhythm of life, where demands can be relentless and time is precious, prioritizing your well-being can be hard. Not to worry. Balance of Nature fruits and veggies supplements are convenient and easy to add to any schedule. Paired with eating more fresh produce, regular exercise, and a positive mindset, Balance of Nature fruits and veggies supplements can help you keep your rhythm. Whether it be excelling in your day-to-day or just living in the moment, start your journey with Balance of Nature supplements. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com to get 35% off your first order as a preferred customer with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. That's 1-800-246-8751. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. And it's nice to see that we're getting some Biden shots in from stand-up comedians. It's nice to see that that's, within the field of play. Because, you've got all the late-night talk show hosts, that the Kimmels and the Colberts that are just awful. And they're basically, they're just flack for the state.
Did you see Stephen
particularly this
Colbert?
administration?
Oh, I'm sorry for interrupting you. And when we were at the RNC, remember in Cleveland, did you run into him? Did you see him?
No.
Oh, I did, and he is a weird dude. There's something missing. There's something wrong.
Typical Northwestern grad.
Ugh.
But anyway,
watch him do his thing. Yeah.
It's good to see that that this is fair game. That he's become an appropriate object of ridicule. So this was some random stand-up dude at the Comedy Store doing a set, and he was doing some crowd work, and he happens upon somebody who worked for the Biden administration, and it went like this.
Nick, what do you do for a living now? You work for the Biden administration. Uh-oh. Is your job to wake them up, or what's your job? Hey! There's a war! Okay, what do you do for the Biden administration? What a show of a job you have. I can't believe you admitted that in front of all these people. You have the freedom to lie. You could have said you were a hooker and I would have been proud of you. What do you do? Wow. Are you ready to be unemployed, or what's your vibe?
Travels to southern states doing something on behalf of the Biden administration. That was the exchange there. Yeah. Not great crowd work, but like I said, I'm just happy to see that it's in play, that we're, at least with stand-up comedians, per what Seinfeld has been saying, we're not going to see it on sitcoms. That's all politicized and groupthink, and it's, comedy, situational comedy is dead. But the stand-ups, more of the maverick set, and they're bringing it back where those in power, regardless of their political stripes, get ridiculed as is appropriate. You try to find encouraging notes wherever you can. So, just saying. All right, coming up at 6:36, we'll get to that other story we wanted to do. The collaboration of the migrants and the pro-Hamas protesters in Denver coming to a major city near you, 6:36.
And don't think it can't happen in Chicago. And later, Mayor Johnson heads to Springfield with a big ask. But now let's head into the newsroom. The one and only Mike Scott. Good morning, Mike.
Dan and Amy, it is 6:29. Thunder showers have rolled through the area, 59 degrees. New polling this morning shows a majority a large majority of Americans are not paying attention to Donald Trump's hush money trial. It's a survey from PBS, NPR, and Marist showing that well over 55% say they're not following the case at all. President Biden recently vowing to withhold weaponry from Israel if they invade Rafah without telling him how they plan to protect Palestinian civilians. Fox's Lucas Tomlinson has more on the president's plan from Washington, D.C.
President Biden maintains his support for Israel is, quote, Tom Cotton says Biden has imposed an arms embargo on Israel. And posting on X, Israel's national security minister says Hamas loves Biden. Here's Biden on CNN and why he is blocking those weapon shipments to Israel.
I made it clear that if they go into Rafah, they haven't gone into Rafah yet. If they go into Rafah, I'm not supplying the weapons that have been used historically to deal with Rafah.
And of course, Congress just passed that massive aid bill to give billions of dollars more to Israel. And 133 hostages remain inside Gaza right now in Hamas captivity.
The president clarified the U.S. will continue to reinforce Israel's defensive weaponry like the Iron Dome. Tornado was spotted touching down in Huntsville, Alabama Wednesday night.
When I finally came outside, I just couldn't believe the devastation as far as everything around.
The National Weather Service issuing more tornado warnings across Alabama, Georgia, and Tennessee. Former Boeing employee says he was pressured to hide defects in airplane parts. Santiago Paredes worked as an inspector at a Boeing parts manufacturer for over a decade. This morning, the EPA says it is completely shutting down its civil rights probes into the water crisis in Jackson, Mississippi. EPA saying there was insufficient evidence to show the state of Mississippi ever discriminated against the residents of Jackson on the basis of race when it comes to water. A man killed in a crash on DuSable Lakeshore Drive early this morning. A 25-year-old man was a passenger in a vehicle that got into an accident, was transported to Northwestern Memorial, and later pronounced dead. Pro-Palestinian protesters in Chicago voicing their displeasure with President Biden and his policies on the president's visit to raise even more money for his campaign.
We're poised to bring tens of thousands into the streets, maybe as many as 100,000 into the streets to protest the DNC and to tell Biden and Kamala and Blinken and all of them that they're complicit here.
Encampment protests at university campuses in Chicago and across the state are raising a few red flags for law enforcement, as well as a few claims of excessive force from protest groups here in Chicago. Mayor Brandon Johnson spent Wednesday lobbying state lawmakers for more financial support, primarily, says Johnson, state funding for CPS.
We know that the conservative estimate of what the city of Chicago deserves is $1.1 billion.
He also asked for more money to help replace lead water lines in Chicago. And Northwestern University facing even more lawsuits over the hazing scandal involving the football program. 3 more Northwestern football players have filed suit. Cubs lost to the Padres 3-0 last night. White Sox salvaged their series with Tampa Bay with a 4-1 win at Tropicana Field. Stanley Cup playoffs. Panthers pummel the Bruins 6-1. Canucks over the Oilers 5-4. 6:34 is our time. We'll have a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Dr. Sebastian Gorka sees more frivolous spending.
Any idea how much the Democrats spent on the January 6th committee? Eric, do you remember how long was the January 6th committee? Like a couple of months, maybe?
Give or take, yeah.
Okay. They spent $16 million of our money. $16 million.
America First with Dr. Sebastian Gorka. Afternoons at 3, right before Sean Thompson at 4 on AM 560. The Answer.
In the fast-paced rhythm of life, where demands can be relentless and time is precious, prioritizing your well-being can be hard. Not to worry. Balance of Nature fruits and veggies supplements are convenient and easy to add to any schedule. Paired with eating more fresh produce, regular exercise, and a positive mindset, Balance of Nature fruits and veggies supplements can help you keep your rhythm. Whether it be excelling in your day-to-day or just living in the moment, start your journey with Balance of Nature supplements. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com to get 35% off your first order as a preferred customer with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. That's 1-800-246-8751. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
Baseball and softball season will be starting soon at fields everywhere. I'm not talking about those overpriced professional palaces with the prima donnas. I'm talking about the neighborhood where the kids, Little League fields, their family, their fathers, their coaches will all be out in the sun. There's a company in Bridgeview, PYT Sports, that's working with volunteer coaches, Little League managers, and dads. Good, hardworking guys that want to help their kids and friends have a good time this summer instead of getting into trouble on the streets. PYT Sports has all the stuff you'll need to furnish dugouts and more. 2-tiered benches, helmet racks, bat racks, and individual player storage. Plus, windscreens and wall pads. Even field tarps to protect from rain so you're ready for game time. Check out the popular Field General, Commander, and Trooper helmet and bat combos to make your dugout look like the pros. Go to pytsports.net. That's pytsports.net. And get ready for a great baseball season. Play ball!
Don't let a cold, sinus infection, or allergies ruin your day. Breathe easier, sleep better, and feel healthier with Navage. Visit Navage.com, Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, or a store near you.
6:36, check of the roads, Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. Kennedy already 70 minutes from O'Hare into the Burns Circle interchange. Right now you're dealing with an accident inbound on the Kennedy on the off-ramp to Madison. Ike inbound, stop and go, Wolf to Oak Park Avenue. It's 1 hour from 390 into the old post office. 57 in the Bishop Ford, jamming into the Ryan Merge. DuSable Lakeshore Drive, roadwork problems northbound between the Stevenson and Roosevelt. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast in our ReviveYourLawn.com Weather Center. Cloudy, breezy, cooler, occasional rain and drizzle, and a high of 57. Right now, 59. Next news coming up at 7. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. Only the biggest stories, only the biggest guests, and only the biggest opinions. This is AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. So we've got force multiplier occurring in Denver. You have a keffiyeh-clad pro-Hamas protester bringing the encampments together. Encampments from college for the basically mainly privileged honkies. And the migrant encampments, migrants protesting, as there has been some complaints from migrants, people in this country illegally, about the quality of the goods and services that are being provided them.
Right. Like in Massachusetts, they didn't like the food, so they called the local I-team out there and said, this is what we're eating. But then they turned it into our tax dollars are paying $27 a day for meals that really, I think, a hot dog surrounded by rice.
Yeah, I'm right. I mean, it's not Chateaubriand. I get it. I mean, if you don't like the food, feel free to take your business elsewhere.
Yeah,
I
go
suppose.
back. You can always go back home.
But this coming together, this is a great example of what the left does, the solidarity and marginality. It's the same cast of characters that just move from one grievance to the next, and that's what you have happening there. They have some demands as you might expect, a number of demands. Here's the press conference that was held. Well, of course. They have press conferences just like these pro-Islamist terrorist protesters on college campuses do, negotiation teams and comms teams and press conferences and shouting demands through bullhorns and bitching about doctors not being on site and so forth.
I'm V Reeves with HAND, House Keys Action Network Denver. I use they them pronouns.
Thank you.
My name is spelled V, just the letter V, last name Reeves.
V Reeves. Got it. Thank you.
So we called for this emergency press conference because it became very clear from several meetings that we'd been having with the folks here at this encampment and also with other migrants that there needed to be clarification on the kinds of systemic conditions these folks are put under. There's a lot of dissonance and a huge amount of difference between what is coming out of the city and what the mayor is saying and what the reality of these people's lives are. There's also so many incredibly strong parallels that come between the cause for the unhoused migrants' rights here in Colorado and in the U.S., and then there are parallels with the fight for a free Palestine.
Of course there are.
Now, a lot of that comes from the fact that we're facing a common enemy. We're facing a colonial structure that decides that black and brown bodies are not of the same value as white European colonial settler bodies are.
She go away now.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't she white?
V. Reeves? I don't know if she identifies as white. She is a honky.
She's
I don't know. Yeah.
Blonde hair.
Well, anyway, after she got done with, her ideological diatribe, she made mention that they have 13 demands, and I'd like to go through them with you to make sure that we're all working off the same scorecard so that we can track how the negotiations between V. Reeves and the city of Denver go, since Denver is just one big college campus now as well, and make sure that people are in this country illegally have their demands met, just like we want to make sure that hunger strikers in Princeton, New Jersey have their demands met. That's what's important. I don't want to be perpetuating systemic conditions that are remnants of a colonial structure. Blah, blah. Anyway, migrants will cook their own food with fresh, culturally appropriate ingredients provided by the city instead of instead of pre-made meals. Rice, chicken, flour, oil, butter, tomatoes, onions, etc. Also, people will not be punished for bringing in and eating outside food. Yeah, let's get back to farm to table for the migrants. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro, answer line 64636DA, turnkey.pro, text line. And V. Reeves will be monitoring, and her team.
Yeah, will be monitoring.
Will be monitoring that the city is compliant and then also that the migrants don't eat any culturally inappropriate food.
This encampment is so gross. So they're protesting this city's shelter system, and it's underneath an overpass, and
right.
It's trashed, okay? There's
Nothing
garbage everywhere. And there's Palestinian flags. I see 2 Palestinian
flags. Of course.
Here.
Solidarity and marginality. So,
what the heck does that have to do with anything?
So you're protesting the shelters by putting up a little tent encampment under an underpass. Okay. Yeah.
And then release your demands. And then that encampment has Palestinian flags because, that's the soup du jour. And you have demands that for taxpayers to provide better food.
All right. We've just gotten through the first demand. We want to make sure that everybody's on the same page here. Shower access will be available. By the way, note the language. They're not asking. They're telling. Shower access will be available without time limits. Because, they like to take a 20-minute hot shower just like I do. I get that. Will be available without time limits and can be accessed whenever. We are not in the military. We're civilians.
Oh, you're getting a little lippy there, huh? 20-minute showers? I don't shower. I get it in and out. I don't understand long showers.
I like long showers. It's a happy place to think, let your mind roam, so forth. Anyway, I digress.
Okay.
I'll let people think about me in my shower at their own leisure. Number 3, Yeah, well, they made it to 3. They've learned something from the hunger strikers at Princeton. Medical professional visits will happen regularly, and referrals/connections for specialty care will be made as needed.
Somebody just texted, snowflake dinners matter.
Number 4, all will receive that same housing support that has been offered to others. They cannot kick people out in 30 days without something stable established. Okay. Number 5. There needs to be a clear, just process before exiting someone for any reason, including verbal, written, and final warnings. Of course, right? Basically, what they really need is sort of an HR department set up there for the migrants. Yeah. Number 6, all shelter residents will receive connection to employment support, including work permit applications for those who qualify. Number 7, consultations for each person, family with a free immigration lawyer must be arranged to discuss and progress their cases, and the city will provide ongoing legal support in the form of immigration document clinics and including transportation to relevant court dates.
That's right.
Of course. The city will provide privacy for families and individuals within the shelter. No more verbal or mental abuse will be permitted from the staff, including no sheriff sleeping inside and monitoring 24/7. We are not criminals and won't be treated as such. That's number 9. Number 10, transportation for all children to and from schools will be provided until they finish in 3 weeks. That's number 10. Number 11, no separating families, regardless if family members have children or not. The camp will stay together. What if the parents want to be separated from the kids? Number 12, the city must schedule a meeting with the mayor and those directly involved in running the newcomer program ASAP to discuss further improvements and ways to support migrants.
They're running out of space. They're running out of patience. They're running out of
Not
resources.
their problems. That's your problem. Figure it out. They're not asking. Number 13, the city must provide all residents with a document signed by a city official in English and Spanish with all of these demands that included a number to call to report mistreatment. Well, number 13, well, excuse me, Ms. V. Reeves, they, them. English and Spanish. How about native language? That's a little exclusive, don't you think? There are migrants from Asia, Chinese migrants, I'm sure, some in Denver, Africa. So it's not just English and Spanish, little lady, or little non-binary.
Yeah, 18 different languages.
Yeah. So, okay, all right. So now everybody's got it? We clear?
Mm-hmm.
And that Johnston, that mayor of Denver, I mean, he's a honky, but he's on the same program as BLM Brandon. He's down with all the same struggles.
Oh, yeah.
And he's behaving like a university president, which is to say capitulating and deferring and enabling. V. Reeves to shake down this little non-binary knucklehead to shake down the city of Denver's taxpayers. That's
She's
good
wearing
stuff.
her Palestinian scarf. What do you call that thing again?
The keffiyeh.
The keffiyeh. She has that on.
Come on, get with the nomenclature. The local Fox affiliate reported on this, too. I mean, it's wall-to-wall V. Reeves coverage on behalf of the migrants in Denver.
The camp, as a collective, came up with a list of demands.
That came after a petition by city officials for migrants to move from this encampment near train tracks under a bridge to indoor shelters funded by the city.
This morning, they sent buses to take people over without presenting that document and without having any kind of signature for accountability.
That's what migrant advocate V. Reeves says the city responded with instead of meeting the migrants' demands.
We've been offering time and shelter, basically just trying to get families to leave that camp and come inside.
John Ewing with Denver Human Services says shelter comes with its perks, namely getting out of these conditions outdoors.
Which comes with, 3 square meals a day. You can cook your own if you'd like to.
That is one of the main demands by these migrants who have had their grievances in the past about the food provided by the city.
There have been so many complaints about the food being spoiled or not being enough and malnutrition amongst children.
Migrants who do stay in shelters are often put on a path toward a work permit. Reeves says
these folks haven't received the same benefits.
They're not receiving any kind of official housing or immigration document support, which is incredibly necessary for them to be able to navigate the bureaucracy around these systems.
The city says its own offer comes with these benefits.
What do you qualify for? What do you not qualify for? What might be something that is a feasible path for you to success that is not staying on the streets of Denver? We try to compromise. We try to figure something out. You know, at the end of the day, what we do not want is families on the streets of Denver.
Yeah, so in all, the migrants sent a list of 13 demands to the city. The city, meanwhile, says it is continuing to send buses to this encampment for any migrants who change their mind and want to take that offer for city-funded shelter, whether it be congregate or in a hotel. We're live in Denver. Raheli Modis, Fox.
Yeah,
this is going great. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean...
Can I take the Palestinian flag with me, sir, if I go back to the shelter?
Well, the city is doing about... I'm always interested in the institutional response here, right? So what the city's doing its best. You heard them. The city flack, you know, they can make their own food. Well, so that's great, son, but you need to provide culturally appropriate ingredients for the food that they may or may not want to make. So what's the city's plan for that? Also, too, I was just thinking about the showers, long as they want, access whenever, 24/7, long as they want. I would make, if I could just offer a friendly amendment to that particular demand, I would make a water pressure demand, too. I don't like, like you get in a lot of hotels, like the dribble-drabby shower. I want like fire hose water pressure so you can get like a little back massage kind of action going, loosen up a little bit in the morning with the hot water. But you need the good water pressure. And I don't know if they've thought about that. Maybe I'll conference with either V. Reeves or her designee in Chicago to make sure that that's included. Because there's always room to make more demands as things move along. You learn. As you go. Yeah. So that's the story in Denver, and that will be the story in Chicago and every other major city in the next 5 minutes. So get ready. Harry in Holly, Michigan.
Hey, good morning, Dan and Amy. I think that a lot of these government bodies, et cetera, they need to establish an adopt a migrant program and push it back on a V. Reeves and say, if you want to support these people that through charity, tired of government building up our credit debt to do all these illegal things. So how about you and your parents go ahead and adopt a migrant or two, and you can take care of them just the way that you'd like to.
Yeah, thanks for the call here. These are not private action folk. These are collective action folk. These are not volunteers.
Right.
These are point of gun types. So I just don't think that's going to fly. Not to mention, most of them are dependents of the state or their parents to begin with, or some or some combination of the two. So they're dependents pushing dependency. So I just don't think you're going to get that sort of can-do spirit from V. Reeves and company. Ray and Lombard, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Yeah, Dan, these people are illegal immigrants, and they're gathering with a piece of paper with a list of demands.
Yeah,
doesn't
that's right.
Doesn't the demands usually are accompanied with the or what? What's the or what? Are we talking bad Yelp reviews? What's the or what that they're going to do if they're not met with their demands?
Great question.
Thanks for what you guys do. Bye-bye.
Great question, Ray. What's the all right? It's an ultimatum, so what's the implicit threat? Let me tell you what the implicit threat is, especially now that they've been joined by the pro-Hamas protesters. Here's the implicit threat.
The people find you
guilty. Guillotine. Off with their heads, Ray. Off with your heads. That's the or what. Dan and Amy, Chicago's Morning Answer.
The stories you need to know to start your day. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Parents, grandparents, you might want to be sitting down because this is amazing news. Imagine the student in your family not asking you for money to pay for college, or better yet, not getting into years and years of debt. How's this possible? Scholarships.com, a trusted and widely used scholarship platform that helps your student find scholarships and navigate the financial aid process. Get help to pay for college through a personalized list of scholarships that your student actually qualifies for. Better yet, every scholarship is vetted to ensure accuracy. And now the best part, drum roll please, it's absolutely free. Go to scholarships.com today. Both students and parents can join for free. And within minutes, receive your list of personalized scholarship matches. Check out the wealth of information and resources available at no cost. And read the fantastic reviews from other scholarship winners. Scholarships.com has helped over 23 million students and families find scholarships to help pay for college. And will help you too. Join scholarships.com today for free. That's scholarships.com.
Oh, it's the worst time of year to be suffering with joint pain. You can't enjoy outdoors like you used to. So if you're tired of your achy joints from arthritis or from an injury, contact our good friends at QC Kinetics before you agree to surgery or steroids or medications. That's what tens of thousands of real-life patients around the country did, like Robert. Robert's a retired Marine. He's a business owner, too, and he had debilitating shoulder pain and couldn't take time away from work to have surgery. So he heard about QC Kinetics, how elite athletes were using these treatments for joint pain. Now Robert feels much better thanks to his treatment at QC Kinetics. QC Kinetics is partnered with medical director Dr. Mitchell Shinecup. He's a pioneer in the field. He has 20 years of clinical work, teaching, and publishing. And I'd love to talk about your success story next. So don't wait. Call QC Kinetics today. The consultation's free with Saturday appointments available. Call 312-809-5955. That's 312-809-5955. Again, 312-809-5955.
This is Seth Leibson for townhall.com. Throughout 2020 and 2021, during COVID, American parents received a great series of insights as to what was being taught at their children's elementary and secondary schools. This year, parents are seeing more clearly what is being taught in colleges and universities, and it's not good. How else to explain thousands upon thousands of students praising an open letter from Osama bin Laden or marching and rioting on behalf of terrorist organizations, calling for the full elimination of an actual state, Israel, the United States' greatest ally in the Middle East? Those terrorist entities, like Hamas, illegalize almost every form of freedom and pluralism most college students support, from LGBTQ rights to feminism and freedom of speech. The penalty is often death, but thousands of American students and their professors support such medievalism over and against Israel and the United States. Our young adults are not all right. Neither are their professors. A great relearning is needed, and ironically, first and foremost, at our colleges.
Let's see, if something costs less, but people are happier with it, that sounds like something to look into, and that is MediShare. And maybe you've heard switching to MediShare to pay for healthcare can save many families up to $500 a month, and that's huge, but it's also true people are way more satisfied after making the switch, too. The member satisfaction rate for MediShare is double that of the typical health insurance plan. Double. MediShare works, too. It's been around for 30 years. Members have shared more than $5 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth and a huge nationwide PPO network. So, yeah, really, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care. So if you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan you're happy with, you can call right now and get a price within 2 minutes. See what you can save. This is a very, very smart use of 2 minutes. Here's the number you need. Call 844-41-BIBLE. That's 844-41-BIBLE. 844-41-BIBLE.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies supplements. Changing the world, one life at a time.
Oh, it's been actually really good. I'm 81 years old. I'm a retired nurse, and I have found, I've taken it for about 5 years, I do feel better. At first, there wasn't a drastic change, but I found it really has made, a difference in my lifestyle. It does improve our quality of life.
Start your journey with Balance of Nature supplements. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer. And for a limited time, get 35% off your first order, plus $10 off any additional sets with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
AM 560. The Answer.
Hey, we got to give away some tickets. Patriots Fest, which we've been promoting the last couple of weeks, coming up May 18th in Aurora. We got a set of 2 tickets, 312-642-5600 to what number caller, Amy?
Number 5.
5th caller, 2 tickets to
easy.
Patriots Fest May 18th in Aurora. Call now, 312-642-5600.
It's now 7 a.m. WIND Chicago.
Hamas loves Biden. I'm Chris Foster, Fox News. That post on social media from Israel's national security minister after President Biden says he'll suspend more shipments of some American weapons if the Israeli military launches a full-scale invasion of the city of Rafah in Gaza, where more than 1 million displaced Palestinians are jammed in.
I've made it clear to Bibi and the War Cabinet, they're not going to get our support if, in fact, they go in these population centers.
The president on CNN, Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, says it's necessary to enter Rafah to take out the Hamas terrorists there. The House votes 359 to 43 to save House Speaker Mike Johnson's job.
The attempt to oust the Speaker came from Georgia Republican Marjorie Taylor Greene, who believes Johnson has failed to push a conservative agenda.
So while selfish members of Congress are complaining about chaos, the American people are going broke. The American people are sick of their crime-infested cities.
43 voted against killing the motion, including 11 Republicans. Former President Trump released a statement saying he opposed ousting Johnson.
That's Fox's Ryan Schmelz on Capitol Hill. Former President Trump's criminal hush money trials back in session this morning after a day off.
Adult film star Stormy Daniels is set to be back in a Manhattan courtroom to undergo more cross-examination after testifying for almost 5 hours on Tuesday. She gave descriptions of an alleged 2006 sexual encounter with former President Trump, who was accused of falsifying business records to cover up a $130,000 hush money payment made to Daniels to keep her quiet before the 2016 election. The former president has denied her claims and has pleaded not guilty. In New York City, Tanya J. Powers, Fox News.
2 people are killed in storms in Tennessee, 1 in North Carolina.
Yet another day of extreme weather. Today's risk stretches from the southern plains to the Mississippi and Tennessee River valleys over parts of the southeast and up into the mid-Atlantic.
Fox meteorologist Janice Dean. America's listening to Fox News.
.57 degrees. Skies are gray. We've had some rain showers this morning. 7:02 on AM 560. And authorities this morning are investigating a deadly crash on Chicago's north side. Police say a man was driving early this morning when his vehicle swerved to avoid hitting another vehicle in traffic before slamming into a light pole. Passenger died at a nearby hospital while the driver is listed in fair condition. Pro-Palestinian protesters in Chicago voicing their displeasure with President Biden and his policies.
We're poised to bring tens of thousands into the streets, maybe as many as 100,000 into the streets to protest the DNC and to tell Biden and Kamala and Blinken and all of them that they're complicit here.
Demonstrators gathered downtown yesterday as the president attended a big dollar fundraiser at the Palmer House Hilton. Encampment protests at university campuses in Chicago and across the state are raising a few red flags for law enforcement, as well as a few claims of excessive force from protest groups. 5 complaints alone coming from the Civilian Office of Police Accountability as police ousted a group from the Art Institute of Chicago. Mayor Brandon Johnson spent Wednesday lobbying state lawmakers for more financial support.
We know that the conservative estimate of what the city of Chicago deserves is $1.1 billion.
He also asked for more money from Springfield to help replace Chicago's lead water lines. The National Weather Service confirms a tornado did hit McHenry County Tuesday. The EF0 tornado traveled northwest of Harvard, then into southern Wisconsin. Northwestern University facing more lawsuits over the hazing scandal involving the football program. 3 more players have filed suit against the university and the former head football coach, Pat Fitzgerald. Cubs lost to the Padres 3-0. White Sox salvaged that series against Tampa Bay with a 4-1 win at Tropicana Field. 7:04 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next. on AM 560.
Charlie Kirk sees too much agreement in D.C.
They might shout at each other over abortion. They might shout at each other over guns. But that's all theatrics. When it comes down to what really matters, protecting big corporations, keeping our borders wide open, and relentlessly invading foreign countries and funding wars that have nothing to do with us, D.C. finds harmony.
The Charlie Kirk Show. Afternoons at 1, right before Sebastian Gorka at 3 on AM 560. The Answer.
Hi, I'm Martha Stewart. Every year, more than 4 million pets enter shelters here in the United States. My friends at American Humane have been helping animals since 1877. The goal is to ensure that pets have a safe shelter, especially during natural disasters. Adopting a shelter pet allows shelters to help more animals awaiting care. Please consider adopting today and take some time to learn more about American Humane's other work at americanhumane.org.
Hey everyone, it's Ted from Consumer Cellular, the guy in the orange sweater, and this is your wake-up call. If you're paying too much for wireless service, you don't have to keep having that nightmare. Consumer Cellular has the same fast, reliable coverage as the leading carriers for less. And for a limited time, new customers receive their second month free when they sign up and use promo code MONTHFREE by May 31st. So why keep spending more than you have to? Seriously, wake up and call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com.
Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
Spring cleaning is here. Time to brighten up those dirty rugs and carpeting. Dogs, cats, food, drinks. They can really make a mess. Look down. Are you happy how your carpets and rugs look? Let Executive Green Carpet Cleaning show you how clean really looks. Executive Green Carpet Cleaning. They're local, family-owned, and take pride in customer satisfaction, positive reviews, referrals, and working with AM 560 listeners. Right now, if you mention AM 560, you'll receive 15% off all cleaning services.
Hi, this is Kelly from Executive Green Carpet Cleaning. As a proud supporter of AM 560, allow my family the invitation into your home or business to show you what clean really looks like. Carpets, area rugs, upholstery, tile and grout, and wood floor cleaning. We do it all.
Call or text Kelly today to schedule a free quote. 630-990-8600. Mention AM 560 to receive 15% off. Call or text 630-990-8600 or schedule online at executivegreencarpetcleaning.com. executivegreencarpetcleaning.com.
7:07, let's get an update on the roads. We do that at our Team Hochberg Traffic Center. Kennedy inbound right now, an hour 20 from O'Hare into the Burns Circle interchange. Outbound on the Kennedy, it's 1 hour back out to the big airport. Ike, 78 minutes, 390 to the old post office, and an accident with a left lane blocked inbound between Church and York Road. Stevenson jams solid inbound Harlem to Kedzie. Dan Ryan in, 40 minutes, 95th into the Burns Circle interchange. DuSable Lakeshore Drive jammed up northbound between the Stevenson and Roosevelt through that roadwork zone. Accident, Route 53, a left lane block northbound between Higgins to right before Gulf Road. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. Now your official Chicagoland weather forecast in our ReviveYourLawn.com Weather Center. Here's Steve Williams.
Clouds breezy and cooler. Rain and drizzle mainly early today. High 57. Cloudy tonight. Showers until after midnight. Low 47. Partly sunny, warmer tomorrow. Can't rule out a shower. High tomorrow afternoon at 64. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560. The Answer.
57 in rain at O'Hare. 58 at Midway. Your next news update, 7:30. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560. The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Just in terms of what's going on college campuses, very interesting. Sometimes some of the useful idiots that have been trained at places like the Teamster Hall in Chicago and what to say and how to say it, sometimes they slip up.
Oh, they do? Like death to America, death to Israel? What is
No,
that?
that's not slipping up. That's what
No,
that's what they're supposed to say.
Right.
But let me give you an example of what I'm talking about. This student at Florida International University, not perhaps as prepared to be a good little propagandist as the Ivy League kids. They've had, more training. Maybe they have more bandwidth when it comes to this sort of subversion. But this FIU student, she kind of messed up.
All right, I want to hear it.
She let it slip.
Uh-oh.
In every single protest that we have, our actions have had counter-protesters, and there's never any backlash, and never police protecting us. In fact, our police are directly protecting counter-protesters, even at our events. So I want to ask you all, is Palestinian life not worth mourning? And we as Arabs, Palestinian, Muslim, and anti-Jewish students, are we not worth protecting?
Did you say anti-Jewish students?
I'm sorry. Can you repeat that, please?
Did you say anti-Jewish students? Oh, so this isn't about the state of Israel. This is not about Bibi Netanyahu's policies. This isn't. I'm not anti-Semitic. I'm anti-Zionist. These distinctions without much difference that these flacks try to offer, like Ilhan Omar, for example, or Rashida Tlaib. Anti-Jewish students. Not non-Jewish students, anti-Jewish students is the phrase that she used. See, she let it slip.
Yeah, she's not ready for prime time. She's a try-hard. Yeah. But I'm glad she is, because it's good to expose them for who they are.
Yeah, it should be obvious, but it's always more helpful when they just say it explicitly, isn't it? For more on what's going on college campuses, and as we were talking about with respect to Denver, in Big Blue City, America, because basically those are just big college campuses these days. Pleased to be joined again by former Indiana governor and former Purdue University president, Mitch Daniels. Mitch, thanks for joining us again. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Dan.
So, you had to deal with perhaps not something on this order of magnitude during your time at Purdue, but maybe I'm misremembering. But certainly the people that wanted to protest and whatever the grievance of the day was. And, how did you handle this as a university president, particularly maybe comparing and contrasting yourself from, say, the university presidents in the Ivy League or Northwestern, for example?
Our approach was, first of all, to establish early on, clear protective policies around free speech. We routinely sought and got the best rating that the watchdog groups offer in terms of encouraging an atmosphere of free inquiry. But I think we were equally clear in telling people where the lines were. In other words, speech is different than conduct. We protect the former and have rules about the latter. And then there are speech that's addressed to a topic, no matter how asinine or insipid or offensive that speech is, we would protect, but not speech that was directed at a person, an ethnic group, or threatened anyone. And we enforced the rules as they needed to be, and I think that was the appropriate balance that people have been trying to strike. But also, there's a deterrent value to doing what you said you do. And I think that probably helped us have a calmer environment as these enthusiasms come and go.
Well, what if they try to set up an encampment in the main quad area? What would you do?
We would remind them that housing is the university's prerogative, and that's conduct of a kind that is outside our rules. There was, I'm happy to say, my successor has done, I think, a very fine job in the current situation. They had a much milder version of what's gone on elsewhere, but there was a few tents or something of that kind. They told them they had to have them down by a certain hour. The students complied, had their say, but in this case, nobody had to go to jail.
And I mean, do you have it? So, I guess the question is, and maybe the answer is pretty straightforward. outside of Ben Sass, in terms of the president of a significant university in terms of size and diversity, state university like the University of Florida, and then the quote-unquote prestige universities, and I really do put those in quotes these days. Why isn't there more college presidents, administrations of universities that are following the Mitch Daniels example and your predecessor there at Purdue, it sounds like, or the example of, like a Larry Arnn at Hillsdale College and some of the small liberal arts colleges where the culture is just so different that it's not going to go down like that. But at the big universities where you're going to have kids from a lot of different perspectives, including the pro-Palestinian, in some cases pro-Hamas kids on campus, why you just don't see the model that you said replicated? And go ahead, have your say, no matter how vile and asinine it is, as you said. But then there are lines, and then we enforce the lines. We got to referee this thing.
I'm going to take a half full view, Dan, of what we've seen recently. First of all, you have to remember the dogs that didn't bark. There are an awful lot of places where we didn't have these problems, or they were handled in a very responsible way. Secondly, with obvious exceptions, I was a little bit cheered up that I think there's a little more boldness now. I think the worm has turned a little bit. We did see places call in the law enforcement where necessary. We did see lots of arrests. We've seen here and there some suspensions. Now, my own view is the direct and prompt expulsions would be a very good idea. First of all, to emphasize the importance we place on having boundaries of civil behavior on campus, and secondly, as a deterrent to the future. The schools that do that are less likely to have this problem again and again. But I do think that there have been some signs of greater backbone this time than maybe we saw in 2020. Follow-through is really important. I keep emphasizing prosecutors. We've got a lot of them, and I'm afraid in your city, maybe this is an example, that won't prosecute even worse offenses. And if they don't prosecute these, that will send a very bad signal.
Well, but I mean, it's even worse than that. And this is at some smaller universities, too, like Emerson, where you had, this was a week or 10 days ago, you had kids basically they were assaulting police officers. One kid's got one of those empty Hinkley water bottles, and he's hitting a cop like over the head as the cops are pushing them, trying to get them out of this takeover of some building on campus that they did. And then ultimately the police relented. So there was some arrests made. Emerson College paid to bond the kids out that were arrested.
Well, here we'll go back one level further. So many of the problems that we've seen on campuses, whether it's what we're discussing now or the excessive cost of college, can be traced to boards of trustees who didn't do their job, haven't over time.
Yeah.
And in this case, whoever's president there probably ought to be replaced by someone who will set a higher standard and represent the school better.
You're thinking about this from a policy perspective, which you always do. For federal level, obviously, there are federal purse strings here. There is not just the student aid that the federal government provides, but also the research funding and other funding that flows from the federal government into colleges and universities. Trump has weighed in on this. So has Biden in the sense of, I guess, unilaterally and unconstitutionally forgiving student loans. But Trump is talking about looking at endowments, looking at funding of these universities, and using the power of the purse to try to institute some discipline from the federal level. What's your perspective about federal action as it pertains to sort of everything under the umbrella of colleges and universities, starting with the violence on campus?
I would simply start by saying the federal government's broke. It needs to start reducing spending on all kinds of things, and this would be a fairly easy call. I might be more careful about research, because I do think that research into legitimate, at least scientific and technological advances, is a pretty important thing for us to do. But much of the rest the federal government does, whether or not colleges are using it well or misbehaving, is money we can't afford to borrow and print.
Yeah, I know you talk. I mean, just to take that indication and develop it a little bit more. I mean, but when you were contemplating a presidential run back a decade plus ago now, I guess, you wrote, we gave a speech and offered remarks about the so-called Red Menace, and you weren't talking about Red China or the Soviet Union. You were talking about Red Ink, and you know, and yeah, as a successful Republican governor and Republican leader, what's your perspective on debt and deficits? You know, we hear from the modern monetary theorists that deficits and debt doesn't matter. We have a chief economist or economic advisor for Biden who can't explain the difference between currency and purchasing power, doesn't really know why the government borrows money when it can't go bankrupt and so forth. I mean, some really troubling ignorance on display. But the Republican Party doesn't really seem to have much of an appetite to take up this issue of debt and deficits. I mean, there's some jawboning about it, but you're not seeing substantial proposals in the direction of dealing with it.
Regrettably, that's accurate. I probably couldn't write the same book or give the same speech today, because there's been no evidence at all that we could rally the country to address this as something we have in common. I mean, and we do have it in common. When, and I'm sorry to say it's when, not if, the crunch comes, it'll hurt virtually every American in one way. Worse for the most vulnerable among us. So, no, you're right. Presidents and members of both parties have not only not addressed the problem, they have each in their own way made it worse. We have two candidates for president, each basically promising to make it worse. Modern monetary theory had a very short shelf life. It's on that shelf now with Lysenkoism and the Piltdown Man and other myths or frauds of the past. But you can pick up any at this point credible journal and find very mainstream people saying exactly what some of us have been saying for a long time, that you can't go on forever, that no endeavor of any kind can become as indebted as we are and not sacrifice its sovereignty at some point. So I'm afraid it's going to take, as many have always said, a genuine crisis to bring about some necessary correction. But for the moment, it's obviously bad politics to tell people we can't go on as we have. And it's going to be a very, I'm afraid, serious blot on the record of us as a self-governing people when we're forced to tell, for instance, Social Security recipients, sorry about your luck, money's gone, and we don't have a way to completely keep our promises to you.
Now, Indiana just recently had their primary on Tuesday, and I was wondering, I know you didn't endorse anybody for that, but now are you moving forward? Are you going to be endorsing the Republican nominee?
Well, Amy, I won't need to. You know, not to introduce a big topic you didn't call about, but we'll have a new governor. I hope he'll be a fine one. He's elected by 5% of the American public, the Indiana registered voters, because we are now a one-party state, as 40 of the 50 states are, and it's a new phenomenon. If you're in a state, if you're in Illinois and you're a Democrat, I guess you're happy about it. If you're an Indiana Republican, you may be happy about it, but I'm not sure it's healthy long term. So we had a primary. 12% of the registered voters voted in the Republican primary, and the winner got less than 40% of that. So 5% of the registered voters have determined who our next governor will be. And I'm not sure that's a formula for, competition in business or any walk of life promotes innovation. It's always a good thing. Promotes improvement. And, when you get to a situation like ours, which is now typical, I'm not sure that you get the kind of progress that our free institutions have always produced.
I think that's a good point, and I think the contrast is well considered because we've seen it, and there are examples in Indiana where you get fat and happy, and you start to atrophy a little bit. You start to stray away from the principles you said you were going to act in advance of when you ran and when you were elected. That can happen to conservatives too. In fact, or just even the rank and file Republicans. I mean, one of the reasons that Illinois is a one-party state, as you properly described, is because the Republican Party, when it had its day back in the 80s and 90s, lost its way because it did exactly what I said. It became another spoils of war party, indistinguishable from the Democrats. And long term, the Democrats turned out to be better at it.
Yeah, and this is not a criticism of any of the, 6 candidates that competed this week. They did what made sense to win. They talked about things that really had nothing to do with being governor of Indiana. They were going to combat the Chinese and the hard left and the Mexican border and so forth. This state has problems and it has opportunities. They were not incentivized to talk about those. We didn't hear a word about how we might improve our educational outcomes, about the fact that we're importing electricity where once we exported it, and we're going to need more of it to be an economic power that we can be, all these sort of things. And so I do think that the lopsided politics, which various trends, social and otherwise, have brought us into, is not conducive necessarily to the kind of good give and take that our politics is capable of and in its best days produces.
Well, you're always a source of hope for Illinois because prior to your election, correct me if I'm wrong, there were, people forget this now because of the last 2 decades, but for the 2 decades prior to your election as governor, it was Democrat governors of Indiana, right?
Yeah, that's right. It seems like only yesterday, but we had a very balanced system. Half the time I served in that job, we had a divided legislature, and you had to find ways to work together. You had to identify issues that a broad majority of the public could be enthusiastic about, not just a sliver on one end or the other. But that was then. We'll have to find ways to move ahead. Indiana's still doing fine. We're still receiving lots of Illinois residents.
Oh, yeah. That won't stop. Yeah.
I give you my business every weekend.
I used to, we saw so many Illinois students on our campus, I would always tell them, we have a generous asylum policy here in Indiana. We welcome people fleeing political oppression.
That's right. You should get some of U of I's money because you're basically becoming a U of I extension campus in part in West Lafayette.
They're a fine school, but Purdue's always been blessed, and never more than today, with a very large number, over 1,000 each year now, of students coming from Illinois.
All right. Very good. Very good. Mitch Daniels, former Purdue University president, of course, former governor of the great state of Indiana. Mitch, thanks as always for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you all.
Thank you. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Listen to Dan and Amy on your smartphone. Download the AM560 mobile app today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
Parents, grandparents, you might want to be sitting down because this is amazing news. Imagine the student in your family not asking you for money to pay for college, or better yet, not getting into years and years of debt. How's this possible? Scholarships.com, a trusted and widely used scholarship platform that helps your student find scholarships and navigate the financial aid process. Get help to pay for college through a personalized list of scholarships that your student actually qualifies for. Better yet, every scholarship is vetted to ensure accuracy. And now the best part, drum roll please, it's absolutely free. Go to scholarships.com today. Both students and parents can join for free. And within minutes, receive your list of personalized scholarship matches. Check out the wealth of information and resources available at no cost, and read the fantastic reviews from other scholarship winners. Scholarships.com has helped over 23 million students and families find scholarships to help pay for college, and will help you too. Join scholarships.com today for free. That's scholarships.com.
All right. Permaseal, you've heard about them. They've been around for 40 plus years, still family owned and operated. They have a wonderful review with the BBB, Better Business Bureau. And it's raining out right now. And are you worried? Checking on your basement, your crawl space every few minutes or a few times an hour to make sure there's no water? Well, you need to call our friends at Permaseal for a free estimate. They can fix that. You don't have to live like this anymore. The number to call is 800-421-SEAL, 800-421-7325, or simply go to permaseal.net.
Welcome to a getaway like no other. The Maplewood Hotel in the heart of Saugatuck, Michigan. Built in the 1860s during Michigan's lumberman's era, our boutique bed and breakfast offers a warmth and charm that are amplified by its rich history. Our cozy rooms are designed for comfort, ensuring a restful night's sleep after a day of exploring all that Saugatuck has to offer. Discover the vibrant art scene, stroll through local shops, and indulge in delicious local cuisine, all just steps away from the Maplewood Hotel. Whether you're planning a romantic weekend or organizing a business retreat, we have the perfect rooms for you. We're conveniently located just over 2 hours from Chicago. Stay 3 or more nights and get a discount of 15% off rack room rates in 2024 when you use the code word Chicago Radio. Must book directly with hotel to receive the discount. Visit maplewoodhotel.com today before our summer bookings sell out. Again, that's maplewoodhotel.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right. Was it Russell from Jefferson Park who got our first ticket giveaway for Patriots Fest?
Sounds good to me. I don't know.
Yeah.
Let me check.
Yeah, Russell Jefferson Park.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Yep. Congratulations.
All right, Patriots Fest, May 18th at the Piazza in Aurora. Ted Nugent, Three Doors Down, many other artists that we've been talking about for the last couple of weeks. We're giving away another pair of tickets right now. Right now. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro. Answer line to what number?
Caller number
caller?
9. I feel fine with number 9.
All right, caller number 9. 2 tickets to Patriots Fest in Aurora, May 18th at the Piazza in that city, the city of Aurora.
Okay, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Coming up at 7:37, we talk to our friend Bob Woodson. What comes after DEI? 7:37.
And Dan, gird your loins. We have a new COVID variant, and it's called flirt. Yes, it's not a scent.
Flirt?
It's called flirt. It is. I'm not kidding you. And it sounds like a
Very concerned.
perfume name. But now let's head into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott. Mike, have you heard about flirt yet?
No, but I heard this morning that Joe Biden's in trouble with Packer fans.
Oh.
And we'll tell you why in just a moment.
That's the best tease of the day right there.
7:32 on AM 560, The Answer. We will start in the Middle East, where the U.S. has hit pause on a large shipment of weapons for Israel over concerns by the Biden administration about a large-scale military offensive in Rafah. South Carolina Republican Lindsey Graham sharply critical of the president's decision.
They're surrounded by radical Islamic terrorists that want to destroy the Jewish state, not help the Palestinians. And what is Joe Biden's response? To withhold weapons in a war that Israel cannot afford to lose.
U.S. officials say the move is to try and stave off a full Israeli invasion of Rafah. The president was campaigning in the critical battleground state of Wisconsin.
Since I took office, we've added nearly 4,000 jobs in Racine. As I said earlier, we've added 178,000 in the state of Wisconsin. The unemployment rate has hit a record low in Racine.
But the president should know Wisconsin is the wrong place to get facts on a story about the Green Bay Packers. Fans are fact-checking the president after he told a new version of a story about how he reportedly became a Packers fan. President telling the crowd in Racine yesterday he became a Packer fan when he was in high school because one of the priests who taught him was drafted by the Packers, but then decided to become a full-time priest. The president said that man was named Riley, but that's a different version of the story he told back in 2011 when he said a different priest was a Packers fan, because he came from an abbey in Des Peres and would give kids a free period on Mondays when the Packers would win. Packer fans are doing their research and say the Packers did draft Maurice Tex Riley in 1947, but he didn't become a priest. He had a lifelong career in the Air Force. Authorities continue investigating here in Chicago after a deadly crash on the north side. It happened along Lakeshore Drive just after midnight when a vehicle slammed into a power pole and a light pole. Passenger died later at a nearby hospital. Pro-Palestinian protesters in Chicago voicing their displeasure with President Biden and his policies.
We're poised to bring tens of thousands into the streets, maybe as many as 100,000 into the streets to protest the DNC and to tell Biden and Kamala and Blinken and all of them that they're complicit here.
Demonstrators gathered downtown yesterday as the president attended a big dollar fundraiser at the Palmer House. Cubs lost to the Padres 3-0. White Sox beat Tampa Bay 4-1. Nuggets forward Nikola Jokic takes home his third career NBA MVP. 7:35 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Dennis Prager isn't sure how people vote Democrat.
Has the left given us a non-binary term for mother? My parent, I guess that's it. They're against mother and father. I have read that to you on a number of occasions. And people still vote Democrat. The tragedy is that if the country is destroyed from within, a vast number of good people are going to be hurt.
The Dennis Prager Show. Weekdays at 11, right before Charlie Kirk at 1 on AM 560. The Answer.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies supplements. Changing the world one life at a time.
Oh, it's been actually really good. I'm 81 years old. I'm a retired nurse, and I have found, I've taken it for about 5 years, I do feel better. At first, there wasn't a drastic change, but I found it really has made, a difference in my lifestyle. It does improve our quality of life.
Start your journey with Balance of Nature supplements. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer. And for a limited time, get 35% off your first order, plus $10 off any additional sets with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
Have you saved enough? What are you going to do with Social Security? What will your taxes look like in retirement? Scott Tucker believes retirement planning should be easy, and you should be able to get all the information you need in one place. That's why Scott created the Retirement Decoded Toolkit, a comprehensive resource for your retirement. In it, you'll find a copy of his latest book, Escape Illinois, Should I Stay or Should I Go? This book will provide insight on taxes, Social Security, income, and more. To get your free Retirement Decoded Toolkit, text KIT, K-I-T, to 847-474-3888 or go to retirementdecoded.com. Now, in addition to the book, you'll also receive resources on retirement's most common concerns. Get your Retirement Decoded Toolkit from Scott Tucker right now by texting KIT to 847-474-3888 or go to retirementdecoded.com. Investment advisory products and services made available through AE Wealth Management, LLC. A registered investment advisor, this is a paid placement.
Download the free Upside app to earn real cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code EARN for an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first fill-up. That's promo code EARN.
7:38, Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. Eden's 35, Lake Cook Road to the junction. The Kennedy right now at 90 minutes, O'Hare into the Burns Circle interchange. Ike inbound an hour 15 from 390 into the old post office. You're delayed near York Road on the inbound side due to an earlier accident. A left lane block due to an inbound crash, which is, this is outbound on the Ike. A left lane block due to that inbound crash at York Road. Dan Ryan right now, a very heavy 50 minutes from 95th into the Burns Circle interchange. Roadwork delays on DuSable Lakeshore Drive in the zone northbound between Oakwood and Roosevelt. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast. In our ReviveYourLawn.com Weather Center, cloudy, breezy, cooler, rain and drizzle, and a high of 57. 56 degrees right now at O'Hare. And your next news update is at 8. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560 The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, America First with Sebastian Gorka. Weekday afternoons at 3 on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. A spate of stories when it comes to the race hustle. Some pretty encouraging, actually. 2 teens kicked out of St. Francis High School in Mountain View, California, were awarded $1 million by a jury because they were improperly kicked out. The school saying that they took a picture when they were 14 years old of themselves in blackface, when in point of fact, it was just a green acne face mask that they were wearing.
Yeah, we've used those at home.
They took a photo of themselves at the sleepover, 14-year-old boys during a sleepover in 2017, and 7 years later, they get a little bit of justice, $1 million. Catholic school, elite Catholic school. Right. Good. I'm glad the Catholic school there is going to take it in the pants.
Yep, me too.
These elite schools, not much different than the government schools, as we've well documented. Just, go up the road to Wilmette and take a perusal of what's happening at Loyola Academy. Then there's this, like we have in Evanston, seeing more and more of this. Vermont's housing program, $25,000 for forgivable loans for home buyers who are Black, Indigenous, or people of color. Harvard Business Review. U.S. firefighters are overwhelmingly white and male. Here's why that needs to change. Oh, the Firefighters Union, which mainly serves as an appendage of the Democrat Party. Certainly that's the case in Chicago and Illinois. Heads up, gentlemen. Be careful who you're in bed with. Don't come crying.
Might come back to bite you.
And, of course, college campuses. SIU had 5 separate segregated graduation ceremonies. Black, Hispanic, Asian, LGBTQ, and non-traditional. Yeah, resegregation is the new fad, as we've, again, been documenting for years now. And it just keeps going. It just keeps going. This is an announcement by a flack for Governor Hochul of New York about this renovation of JFK that they're doing. Big public works project. $2.3 billion in state funds to renovate JFK Airport. But, it's not for the honkies.
What we didn't want to happen is to go back to the community, and Jim, you know this, and people look at us and say, well, what did you do? No one on that project looks like us. No one in that project represents us. We did not want to have those conversations, and that's why those tireless meetings that took place on Zoom, Microsoft? WebEx or whatever it was, and it wasn't working, and your bandwidth, and you had to turn off the camera or turn off the mic. As annoying as it was, we knew it was for us, by us, to make sure that this community that we represent looks like us. So I just want to say.
So it's like the foundational document of the Brandon Johnson administration in Chicago. First, you get the money. And again, as I'm always quick to say, the Irish did it. Italians did it in big cities. And so now, as more minority groups are ascendant and minority politicians are, Black politicians are doing it, Latino politicians are doing it, Asian politicians are doing it, Michelle Wu in Boston. It's not race based. It's between your ears based identitarianism, and that eats more of your brain than that worm that was roaming around in RFK Jr.'s head. For more on all of this, we're pleased to be joined by our friend Bob Woodson. Of course, he is the president, founder of the Woodson Center, and also 1776 Unites. And he is also the author of the bestseller, Red, White, and Black, Rescuing American History from Revisionists and Race Hustlers. Red, White, and Black. Bob Woodson, thanks so much for joining us. As always, appreciate it.
Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure, Dan and Amy.
So help us take stock, because you're in this fight every day and you have been for 60 years. So help us take stock of where we're at. We've seen some clawing back of DEI bureaucracies, but at this and some court cases that enforce anti-discrimination laws in every which direction, which are somewhat encouraging. But then you have still a lot of money sloshing around in the direction of identity-based politics.
Yeah, I think I have to give credit to my young colleague, Delano Squires, and I just keep quoting him because he framed it beautifully. He said, really, this is a struggle among elites. This is guilty whites who are seeking absolutions from crimes they never committed, and guilty entitled blacks who are seeking absolution from injustice they never suffered.
Right.
It really is a battle of elites. And this is where you get into identity politics, and there's just one iteration of that. DEI is another iteration of it. But the reality is the people who are suffering as a consequence of this are not the ones that have a voice in framing these issues. This DEI and others has produced, as a friend said, a deliberate inversion of moral values, a degradation of competence, and an implosion of social trust. And this takes expression in high crime in these areas as the police and lawful authority is diminished and degraded. But the real people who are suffering the consequences of these battles of elite are the people who are most vulnerable in these communities. And that's why it is important to go directly into these communities and listen to what these voices are saying. The Woodson Center is in about 39 communities, representing about 3,000 low-income grassroots leaders of all racial groups. And I spend a lot of time in these communities. And if you look at survey data, 80% of blacks do not support defund the police. They don't support these race grievance issues. They are unalterably opposed to it. But the qualities that make them effective makes them invisible. And that's why it's important for us to, in terms of pushing back against it, to go to the people in the community in whose name the left say they are representing them, and give them a voice in speaking out against these. And that undermines the moral authority of the left. We did this in Utah. I met with the governor. I met with the leader of the House, the Senate, also 35 grassroots leaders in Salt Lake City. Mm-hmm. And we had public forums and discussed this. And so when the legislature offered this legislation to take down and remove DEI, it was supported by people in the community, low-income black, brown, and white groups, and as a consequence, it was dismantled, and that's where we've got to fight this. It cannot just be conservatives whining about what the left does on television and writing white papers about it. Mm-hmm. We must invest in those groups in these communities who understand that the continued erosion of moral values, attacks on the fundamental values of this nation, have a consequence of degrading the quality of their life. This isn't some intellectual exercise where people's feelings are hurt.
Well, did they ever
understand that their children are being lost? And so it is important for us to step join in partnership with these and invest in these grassroots leaders. And that's how we can push back against DEI, where we did it in Utah.
So that's why hundreds of DEI programs are now falling out of favor across America?
Absolutely. Corporations are spending $8.6 billion on DEI programs, where law firms have to meet DEI requirements. It's almost like a communist checklist. But it's falling out of favor, and that's why it's being dismantled. In Virginia, University of Virginia spends $20 billion on DEI programs. One black staffer makes a $500,000 salary training white people to be less racist. Making white people less racist doesn't make black people safer. And low-income people understand that that's a waste of resources that should have been spent on helping to heal those communities from within. And so you're seeing what they're doing in Utah is shifting it away from race-based needs to students who are struggling more of a class-based emphasis, and that's where we ought to be placing it.
I mentioned this the other day. I want to get your take. It seems to me there's a moment coming, and I don't know exactly when and exactly where, but the situation with Eric Adams and Brandon Johnson and Karen Bass and that Bill Johnston, the mayor of Denver, and Brandon Scott in Baltimore. I mean, these are all interchangeable people. It's different people, different names in different big cities, all doing the same thing. And it's producing the same results expectedly, which are bad. And it seems to me there is a vacuum in terms of opposition because these are all one-party cities. But there's a moment coming because of the sort of layering of social pathologies and importing them with respect to the lawlessness at the border and how that's manifesting itself in big cities, the big blue cities, where there's going to be a new cadre of leadership that's incubated in these cities that has a different approach. And, they may not call themselves a Republican, but they're going to be more commonsensical or a solutionist like you, Bob. Probably it will have to be young and black. It's just the nature of it. Or younger, under 60. But do you see? And I'm not sure I can point to an example of somebody that I think is just off stage and ready to come on stage in one of these places. But you're much more on the ground than I am, and I just wonder if you see that moment coming too.
Oh, absolutely. I think there's already a rebellion in place. You see where if you look at even television that can't, to the extent, you got grassroots people like in Boston, in Roxbury, for instance, where the mayor is entertaining some exclusive black legislators, and then the next week she goes to a recreation center in the middle of low-income black Roxbury and takes a gymnasium that the community has been trying to get the city to renovate for 10 years, and instead they have now 120 beds for migrants in there in that black community. They're not putting migrant centers out where the where the Harvard professors live. It's in the low-income black community, and those low-income groups leadership is in outrage, and they're speaking up. The same that is happening in Chicago. Grassroots leaders are saying to the mayor, you can't put any more shelters here, or why are you spending the teachers' unions demanding $50 billion when in fact the kids are failing in those systems. No, there is a quiet rebellion going on. Leadership is emerging from those communities whose neighborhoods are being overrun. I really believe that low-income black people are black patriots. As I travel around these communities, they are not confused about their pronouns. You don't hear the discussion about pronouns and gender identity in these communities. In fact, you'd be laughed off the scene if you ever came in with that foolishness. But again, we must do more to shine a light and provide the means for these low-income indigenous leaders to rise up. You see it in Denver, where even the liberal mayors are now saying that homeless people should go to New York and Chicago.
Right.
And I think that the very stress that is produced and the hypocrisy is evident, is self-evident. Here's Maxine Waters talking about some mythical white waiting in the wings to invade, when in fact her city, the campuses are inflamed in UCLA. In Portland, Oregon, 14 police cars were burned by left-wing radicals. But you don't hear anyone on the other side, progressive side, talk about what are we going to do about left-wing violence. More people have been arrested on these campuses than were arrested January 6th.
Right, but a lot of them aren't being charged. I mean, they're being arrested, but they let them go. And what message does that send?
Right, but the point is, I think the hypocrisy of it all is becoming self-evident, and that's what's going to compel change in these cities. When some of these liberal mayors are confronted with the hypocrisy of their sanctuary city proclamations, when they're confronted with the reality of what that means, when people have to take resources that could go to help solve the problems of poverty among the people who have been paying taxes, it's going to be imploding. That's why we've seen an explosion of interest in our curriculum. For instance, we have 160,000 downloads of our red, white, and black curriculum in all 50 states. Even states like New Hampshire and Oregon are looking at it. So I think there's a quiet rebellion going on, but what we're trying to do at the Woodson Center is to try to get some high net worth individuals to make more deliberate investments in these communities, so that these I think patriots can really stand up and defend this nation, its values, because again, the people in these communities that are suffering with high crime and drug addiction, they are the ones who have the greatest stake in supporting the values of this nation, of family, of faith, and country. They are the real patriots that we need to be paying attention to.
He is Bob Woodson, the founder and president of the Woodson Center, author of Red, White, and Black, Rescuing American History from Revisionists and Race Hustlers, and also Volume 2 is out, A Pathway to American Renewal, Red, White, and Black, Volume 2. Pathway to American Renewal. It's available for pre-order on Amazon, so do that. Red, White, and Black, Volumes 1 and Volumes 2. Woodson Center is the organization to support, along with 1776 Unites, but it's all a collective there in furtherance of those principles that Bob laid out. Bob, thanks as always for joining us. Appreciate it.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a blessed day. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
It's what Chicago is talking about. It's Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy on AM 560. The Answer.
Oh, you're watching everybody else have fun. Hi, Amy Jacobson here, and this is the worst time of year to be suffering from joint pain. You can't enjoy the outdoors like you used to. And if you're tired of those achy joints, contact my good friends at QC Kinetics before you agree to surgery or steroids or medications. That's what tens of thousands of real-life patients around the country did, like Julie. A doctor told Julie the only way she could get relief was knee replacement surgery. She went to QC Kinetics for a second opinion, which was very smart, and she did not choose surgery. Julie isn't limping around, though, anymore. She's riding her bike and going for hikes. She tells everybody she meets about QC Kinetics. Now, I'd love to talk about your success story next, so don't wait. Call QC Kinetics today. The consultation's free with Saturday appointments available. 312-809-5955. That's 312-809-5955. Write it down, 312-809-5955.
From breaking news and weather across the country to insight from the brightest minds in conservative opinion, it's Salem News Channel, home to the biggest shows on TV, like Brandon Tatum weekdays at 6 p.m. Eastern, followed by Charlie Kirk at 7. Join SNC, where facts are sacred, critical thinking is celebrated, and the pursuit of truth is unwavering. Watch Salem News Channel free now on Zumo Play. Learn more at snc.tv/Zumo.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
We'll talk POTUS politics with VDH. Yes, Victor Davis Hanson at 8:35, but at 8:08, we got Austin Edwards, another featured artist at Patriots Fest, May 18th in Aurora. That's 8:08.
And do we have another ticket giveaway?
Yeah, we do.
Okay, good. We'll do it at that time as well. Today it's going to be raining in a high of 57 degrees. It's 8 a.m. WIND Chicago.
President Biden's warning on weapons. I'm Chris Foster, Fox News. He says shipments of large bombs to Israel will stop if a large-scale military operation is launched in a city where more than 1 million Palestinians are taking shelter.
President Biden is withholding certain offensive weapons so that Israel cannot use them to stage a ground assault on the city of Rafah in southern Gaza. The president telling CNN,
civilians have been killed in Gaza as a consequence of those bombs and other ways in which they go after population centers.
The Biden administration has been pressuring Israel not to move into Rafah. The president says the U.S. will continue to supply Israel with defensive weapons. In Washington, Jack Callahan, Fox News.
Biden administration is expected to announce new rules for asylum-seeking migrants.
It could possibly speed up deportations, would apply to those migrants seeking asylum, essentially allowing denials at the initial screening stage as opposed to the interview stage of the asylum process, and this would impact national security rules.
Fox's Mark Meredith at the White House. Former adult film star Stormy Daniels is expected back on the stand this morning at former President Trump's criminal hush money trial.
She testified about meeting the former president at that celebrity golf tournament in Lake Tahoe in 2006, then going to a suite for dinner and then having sex. Prosecutors calling her to prove that Trump had a motive a decade later in 2016 to silence her when he ran for president. The DA's case rests on that allegation that Trump paid her off through Michael Cohen to hide her story, so voters would not find out about that alleged dalliance that the former president denies. The defense is trying to undermine Stormy's credibility and cast her as an extortionist who once, remember, denied the affair.
That's Fox's Eric Shawn outside the courthouse in New York City. Weekly jobless claims have jumped to 231,000. That's the highest figure since August. America's listening to Fox News.
Gray skies, light rain showers, 55 degrees at 8:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. Authorities investigating a deadly crash on the north side. Police say a man was driving early this morning, just after midnight, slamming into a light pole on North Lakeshore Drive. A passenger in that car died at a nearby hospital. Pro-Palestinian protesters in Chicago voicing their displeasure with President Biden yesterday and his policies.
We're poised to bring tens of thousands into the streets, maybe as many as 100,000 into the streets to protest the DNC and to tell Biden and Kamala and Blinken and all of them that they're complicit here.
Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker is dismissing a report that his family is indirectly funding those pro-Palestinian groups that have set up encampments across the nation.
I think you should go read the Rolling Stone story that came out after it, which debunks all of the Politico story.
However, the Pritzker-backed Tides Foundation is fiscally supporting the Adala Justice Project, according to the Tides Foundation website. Tides supports the Libra Foundation, which, according to the Politico report, has set up encampments around the country. Meantime, encampment protests at university campuses in Chicago and in other spots in the state are raising red flags for law enforcement and a few claims of excessive force from protest groups, especially those here in the Chicago area. Cubs lost to the Padres 3-0 White Sox beat Tampa Bay 4-1. Stanley Cup playoffs, Panthers pummeled the Bruins 6-1, and the Canucks beat the Oilers 5-4. It's 8:03, time for the AM 560 Business Beat, a service of Signature Bank. Visit signaturebank.bank for all your commercial banking needs. And now, the latest from the Fox Business Network.
I'm Liz Clayman, and this is the Fox Business Report.
There's been a settlement involving Hyundai's finance unit. The American financing arm for Hyundai and Kia agreeing to pay nearly $335,000 to settle charges it illegally repossessed vehicles belonging to military service members between 2015 and 2023, the Justice Department alleging Hyundai Capital America violated the Service Members Civil Relief Act when it, without court permission as legally required, repossessed 26 vehicles whose owners had begun paying off their loans prior to active duty. Without admitting wrongdoing, Hyundai Capital America will pay $10,000 plus lost vehicle equity to each of the service members and repair their credit, and another $75,000 to the U.S. Treasury. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Lilian Wu, invested in you.
8:05, a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Brandon Tatum can see the trend.
All of this in an attempt to destroy Donald Trump's reputation and destroy being the president of the United States of America. But it's not working, ladies and gentlemen. Look at the polls. Donald Trump is up. If the man is getting indicted 450,000 times and he's going up in the polls, that tell you that American people aren't buying the bull crap that they're throwing out. Joe Biden is a dead man walking. Everybody can see it. Everybody knows it. Your mama, your grandma, your cousin, them.
The Officer Tatum Show, weeknights at 8, right before Sean Hannity at 10 on AM 560. The Answer.
Our goal is to provide patients with the strongest, most effective, and safest options in this exciting field of regenerative medicine.
Dr. Mitchell Scheinkup, National Medical Director at QC Kinetics.
The idea that you can avoid a joint replacement is very exciting.
And that's from a surgeon who's done thousands of joint replacements, but who now believes there's a better way.
Regenerative medicine, as we understand it today, gives lasting pain relief, improved function, without surgery, without drugs.
Under Dr. Scheinkup's leadership, QC Kinetics medical professionals treat patients every day with the most advanced protocols in natural biologics. Literally tens of thousands of people all over America.
I've been doing research on regenerative medicine for 2 decades. This is the future of medicine.
Call QC Kinetics for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 312-809-5955. That's 312-809-5955. 312-809-5955.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles, with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost, month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost.
Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-353-2973. That's 800-353-2973. What do you have to lose? Call 800-353-2973. Again, 800-353-2973.
Hi, I'm Martha Stewart. Every year, more than 4 million pets enter shelters here in the United States. My friends at American Humane have been helping animals since 1877. The goal is to ensure that pets have a safe shelter, especially during natural disasters. Adopting a shelter pet allows shelters to help more animals awaiting care. Please consider adopting today and take some time to learn more about American Humane's other work at americanhumane.org.
Hey everyone, it's Ted from Consumer Cellular, the guy in the orange sweater, and this is your wake-up call. If you're paying too much for wireless service, you don't have to keep having that nightmare. Consumer Cellular has the same fast, reliable coverage as the leading carriers for less. And for a limited time, new customers receive their second month free when they sign up and use promo code MONTHFREE by May 31st. So why keep spending more than you have to? Seriously, wake up and call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com.
Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
It's 8:08, and let's get an update on the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. Inbound Kennedy, 90 minutes. O'Hare into the Burns Circle interchange. And you're jammed up between Damon and Lake. Ike on the inbound side, 90 minutes from 390 into the old post office. Slowing up on the Stevenson inbound between Harlem and Kedzie. Dan Ryan, stop and go, 95th all the way up to the Skyway. A very heavy 51 minutes, 95th into the Burns Circle interchange. Tri-State accident, left lane blocked northbound between Crawford all the way up to Cicero. That's your delay this morning. And on the Veterans, you're slow northbound between I-55 and the Reagan. Route 53, an accident, left lane blocked right near Higgins. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. Now, your official Chicagoland weather forecast in our ReviveYourLawn.com Weather Center. Here's Steve Williams.
Clouds, rain, and drizzle. A little bit cooler today. That rain and drizzle mainly early, high 57. Cloudy tonight, showers until after midnight, low 47. Warmer tomorrow, blend of sun and clouds. Can't rule out a shower. High tomorrow afternoon at 64. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560. The Answer.
55 at O'Hare. Your next news update, 8:30. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560. The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Lights and sirens will fill the emptiness of my dark night. But who'll be there to wrap me in their arms and keep me safe from harm forevermore? Who else will?
Well, that is the work product of Effingham native Austin Edwards. It's called Final Call. It actually was a song that got him and his brother inducted into the National Law Enforcement, or the American Police Hall of Fame.
Oh, good.
Yeah. He is, he's one of the artists performing at Patriots Fest May 18th in Aurora at the Piazza, patriotsfest.com for tickets. And speaking of tickets, we've done 2 ticket giveaways this morning. Russell and Jefferson Park got the first 2, and Rolf and Des Plaines got the next 2. Here's the last pair that we're giving away today. 312-642-5600 turnkey.pro answer line for 2 tickets, complimentary, of course, to Patriots Fest May 18th in Aurora at the Piazza venue. To what caller? What number caller?
I'd like caller number 12 in honor of Mother's Day, which is May 12th.
Oh, very good. Okay. Caller number 12 gets those 2 tickets to Patriots Fest May 18th. By the way, I'm still just chuckling about our interview with the Motor City Madman, the Nuge, yesterday. Oh, he's great. I mean, he is just a force of nature. The anybody who wants to debate me about Biden can call 1-800-numbnut. Ted Nugent is standing by at 1-800-numbnut if you want to have that discussion. So also Edwards, Effingham native, and Amy, of course, you think Effingham, and you think?
I think of family. We have family in Alton and Effingham.
There's a bit of a landmark in Effingham.
Is it the Lincoln statue? No.
It's the 200-foot cross that you can't miss when you're driving by. Right. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But not off of I-55, off of I-50.
I didn't say I-55. Okay. But it'd be 57.
57, yeah.
Anyway, that is from where Austin Edwards hails. By the way, he's a veteran. Good. Also a law enforcement. Want to hear about that. 3rd-generation law enforcement. Because, a reminder that Patriots Fest, 100% of the proceeds going to support veterans organizations that serve our underserved veterans. Austin Edwards, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Hey, good morning, guys. How are you this morning?
Great. So tell us about your upbringing in God's country. We used to call all of Illinois God's country. Now it's really limited to very few locales like Effingham.
Sure. I tell you what, growing up in Effingham, it was called the Crossroads of America.
Right.
And it's where all the major interstates went through in the Midwest, and the railroad lines as well. So, but growing up there it was amazing. It was definitely small town atmosphere. It was very family oriented, and the cross was never there when I was younger. So as they built that cross, a lot of people drove through Effingham and they're like, wow, this must be like a really, Bible thumping community, because of this huge cross. And it was kind of, ironic in a way that long before that cross was ever there, it wasn't that it was a Bible thumping community, but it was that it was very family oriented, and it was a community that people stood beside each other, behind each other, and they lifted each other up. A lot like the way this country used to be. And so I certainly miss the days of Effingham. That's no joke there.
And what your dad was a skilled 12-string guitarist, your mom a pianist, and you said that your fondest memories were growing up when people would come over and play and sing at your house.
Absolutely. So my father was he was a Vietnam veteran, and he was also a policeman. And my grandfather, great-grandfather, great-great-grandfather were all military as well. And so we had a very, very interesting dynamic in the family. But my father's partners on the police department, a lot of them played music, and they found music to be a release from what they do in their day-to-day job. And yes, my mom played piano, and my dad played 12-string guitar, and I grew up in that environment. It was absolutely normal to have live music playing in the house every weekend. So it's blessed.
And you were law enforcement too?
I am. Yes, I currently am. Yeah.
Oh, you are.
Yeah.
What do you do? Are you're a police officer?
I am. Yes, I work a homicide division on the West Suburban Major Crimes Task Force on the west side of Chicago.
Oh wow! I didn't. Oh, okay. That's sort of burying the lead. Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
Come on in.
And so
we're not busy at all. If you've seen.
Yeah. Right. So you're like, I mean, I don't know what kind of. Well, I guess it was probably country oriented, but sort of like your family, sort of like cop rock. You're police officers, but then you sing and dance at the. I don't know if you do it at the station, but you do it at least on the side.
You never know what happens. So. There's room for anything, I guess, nowadays.
Yeah, right. So okay, so how have you how do you balance a career in music? I know you were on America's Got Talent, and you've got you've got an album coming out, right? I mean, do they still call it an album? I don't know.
They call it a lot of things, but
yeah, exactly. But so how tell us about that balance.
It's a difficult balance. I'm full-time policeman. I do music as full-time as I can, and I'm the most important job that I have is the job that I love the most, and that's I'm a full-time daddy. So in fact we're being joined right now by a very special guest, my just turned 12-year-old son Colton, who is a drummer, and he's experiencing that today with us right now. So. He's a large part of that, and my daughter, and in learning how to balance that family and music and work. That's the goal of everyone's life, and it's very difficult. But you find time to do the things that you love, and you just make it happen.
How long have you been with the homicide division?
This will mark my 18th year.
Oh my! And just talk. I mean, do you feel fear for your safety when you go to work every day? Or
there are definitely times that you go through those, but as I tell my son, what do I tell you, son? You can't be what? You can't be courageous unless you have fear, right? Yeah. So that's when your bravery sets in. So you got to push through your days,
Well, I mean, not that it isn't obvious, but the Patriots Fest, I mean, you're like the poster guy for Patriots Fest, the whole point, veteran law enforcement officer, in a tough beat too. So how did you get involved with Patriots Fest? I know you've played with some top country artists in particular. But your involvement in Patriots Fest and the organizations it's supporting, and your sort of call to action for it.
So we had written a song called Miss America, and we had written a song called American Song. And those songs kind of got passed around through some of the people down in Nashville. And lo and behold, somehow it ended up in the hands of the decision makers for the Patriots Fest. And they reached out and asked me if I would be interested to do that. And I was like, absolutely. Absolutely would.
And so, again, Patriots Fest is May 18th. It's at the Piazza in Aurora. PatriotsFest.com is the website where you get tickets. And Austin Edwards, where do they find out? I mean, in addition to you performing, obviously, but where do they find more of your music and follow your career?
Austin Edwards music across the board. On all the social media, Spotify, stuff like that. And that's amazing that you actually, nobody ever plugs the artist anymore. So thank you for plugging. It's always shameful when we plug ourselves. So thank you for doing that.
I'm used to, because I'm always plugging myself, so I'm used to,
Right,
being
right.
shameless. Yes.
You know the feeling then, right?
Exactly.
But Patriots Fest is an amazing thing. I'm really honored to be a part of it. Colton, what's your favorite part about Patriots Fest, buddy?
I would say the fact that you're helping veterans.
See, I love that.
There you go. There you go.
Hi, Colton.
So my son agrees.
Is he going to sit in for a set? Maybe.
I don't know. He's a heck of a drummer though. So maybe I might bring him up there for a set. We'll see.
You should.
I love it. Austin and Colton Edwards. There's another duo has formed.
Yep.
All right,
There you
Austin
go.
Edwards. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I said there you go.
Oh, okay. Patriots Fest, patriotsfest.com is where you get tickets. May 18th, the Piazza in Aurora. Austin Edwards, Three Doors Down, Ted Nugent, the Motor City Madman, and a great collection of other artists. Austin Edwards, thanks so much for joining us, and have fun at Patriots Fest.
God bless you guys, and thank you for having me on, and hope to talk to you guys soon one day.
Oh, yes. God bless you, too. Stay safe out there. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Connect with Dan and Amy using the AM 560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
At Signature Bank, going the distance for business banking customers is what we do every day. We understand that business owners have a strategic mission, a drive to succeed, a plan for growth, and don't have time to wait for a bank to respond. With Signature Bank, you not only have a banking partner that has roots right here in Chicago, but our decisions are made locally too. Signature Bank knows that when you have a question or problem about your business, you want answers. You need someone who will pick up the phone or respond to your text. You need someone who is always there for you. That's Signature Bank. We are a team that wants to get to know you and your business. Want to be Signature Bank's next success story? Give us a call today at 773-467-5630 or visit us online at signaturebank.bank. Member FDIC Equal Housing Lender.
It'll be here before you know it. Our AM 560 annual golf outing, sponsored by Signature Bank. And this year we're once again partnering with the Tunnel to Towers Foundation. Great organization. They provide for our first responders, military heroes, including our homeless vets. So if you're thinking, I want to help out some way, well, this is how you do it. Join us on Wednesday, June 19th at McRae Memorial Golf Club. Proceeds will benefit the Tunnel to Towers Foundation. You'll have a great day of golf. You'll hang out with Sean from Elmwood Park, me, Dan Prompt. What else do you want in life? And you'll also play at a challenging...
For plugging me so I didn't have to.
I know.
I appreciate that.
Playing at a challenging course, but it's a beautiful one as well. Just escape from everything. And if you own a business or if you make the marketing decisions for a business, listen up. We'll give you 25 one-minute commercials plus a marketing package and a free digital marketing analysis. You can't beat that. So you have a fun day of golf. You'll help Tunnel to Towers, and you'll help your business. What's not to like? So get your foursome or twosome ready and join us on Wednesday, June 19th. To sign up, go to 560theanswer.com/golf. That's 560theanswer.com/golf. Sponsored in part by Control Point Engineering, Waukegan Roofing, and Crosscom Public Adjusters.
Balance of Nature supplements, changing the world one life at a time.
The Fiber and Spice is a very effective product. There's no question. A product that is very reliable. It's a very good product.
I swear by these. Probably the best products that I've ever used. I think they're just simply good for your body.
When I used to work, I used to do my art over the weekend all the time. And now I do yard work. I have been doing yard work. I can sweep my floor and make my place look nice. And I take Balance of Nature, and yeah, it feels really good.
Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer. And for a limited time, get 35% off your first order, plus $10 off any additional sets. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
Hi, it's Sean Thompson here. You know when you're at the mall and you go to those directory signs, the one that says "You are here"? Well, imagine that directory is a map of your preparation for retirement. Would you know where you are? My friend Tom Fortino at Alpha Wealth Group is offering you the opportunity to not only find yourself on that map, but also find the route toward a successful retirement. He calls it his retirement roadmap. You'll get an analysis of where you are right now, whether you're at risk if the market drops again, whether you're taking advantage of the latest tax changes, and much, much more. To get an idea where you stand on the road to retirement, call my friend Tom Fortino at the Alpha Wealth Group today at 630-934-1855. That's 630-934-1855. And ask for the retirement roadmap, or visit alphawealthgroup.com. And don't forget to listen to the Alpha Wealth Hour Saturday mornings right here on AM 560, The Answer at 9 a.m.
Advisory services through Retirement Wealth Advisors, LLC, and SEC Registered Investment Advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Alpha Wealth Group, licensed in Illinois.
Homeschooling is becoming much more common these days. Children graduate at a higher rate, and a vast majority of homeschooled children go on to graduate college. But where do you start? How do you homeschool your children? Visit homeschools.org for an amazing homeschool curriculum with Christian values. Christian Liberty Homeschools is a pioneer of the modern homeschool movement and has helped thousands of families get started and succeed. With a Christian Liberty homeschool curriculum, school is on your time. It's flexible, allowing you to vacation whenever you want and making the world your classroom. Watch how your child's confidence soars as you stay in control of the content of your child's education, backed by a great support network. If you're ready to escape from the public school system and homeschool your child in good faith, visit homeschools.org today. Christian Liberty Homeschools, where your child's future is in great hands. That's homeschools.org.
Parents, grandparents, you might want to be sitting down, because this is amazing news. Imagine the student in your family not asking you for money to pay for college, or better yet, not getting into years and years of debt. How's this possible? Scholarships.com, a trusted and widely used scholarship platform that helps your student find scholarships and navigate the financial aid process. Get help to pay for college through a personalized list of scholarships that your student actually qualifies for. Better yet, every scholarship is vetted to ensure accuracy. And now the best part, drum roll please, it's absolutely free. Go to scholarships.com today. Both students and parents can join for free. And within minutes, receive your list of personalized scholarship matches. Check out the wealth of information and resources available at no cost. And read the fantastic reviews from other scholarship winners. Scholarships.com has helped over 23 million students and families find scholarships to help pay for college. And will help you too. Join scholarships.com today for free. That's scholarships.com.
At Catholic Cemeteries of Chicago, we honor traditions, celebrate faith, and cherish memories. Take an active role in establishing your legacy for future generations by pre-planning your final arrangements today. Alleviate your loved ones of future financial burden. Lock in today's prices and take advantage of interest-free financing and no hidden fees. Visit CatholicCemeteriesChicago.org or call 708-236-5490 to schedule a free consultation today.
Healthcare.gov is here for you when life happens. If you lost your health coverage because of turning 26, going off Medicaid, leaving your job, or moving, you could be eligible to enroll in new coverage now. And if you need to update your coverage because of marriage or having a baby, you could also be eligible. But don't wait. There's a limited time to enroll. Check your eligibility at healthcare.gov today. Life happens. Get covered. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, just out from the Babylon Bee. This is good.
All right, I'm ready. Does it
Donald,
involve Stormy Daniels?
No, Donald Trump Bible readings.
Okay.
So, for example, I selected some of my favorites.
Yes, do tell.
John 11:35. Jesus wept, that verse.
Jesus wept, which I have never done, by the way. Never wept, not a weeper, not a crybaby.
Nehemiah 6:15, building the wall around Jerusalem.
So the wall, the big, beautiful wall, was finished on the 25th day of the month, finished in just 52 days. Everybody said I couldn't do it, but I did, and our enemies were shocked, believe me, and the Babylonians paid for it.
Leviticus 19:27, to not, the admonition to not practice paganism.
Do not cut the hair at the sides of your head, but rather let it grow long and golden and swirl it across the top.
John 14.
I could do this all day.
14:6. My Father's house has many homes.
In my Father's house are many rooms, just like Mar-a-Lago. Rooms worth a lot more than $18 million, let me tell you that.
Many rooms, yeah, not many homes. Last one, Mark 1:15. The time is at hand for the kingdom of God, which is perfect timing because that's what we're going to talk about with Victor Davis Hanson, too.
The kingdom of God has come near. Repent and believe the good news, not the fake news like CNN. They're terrible, folks. They're terrible.
It's so good. It's so good. There's a lot more, too. Donald Trump Bible readings brought to you by the Babylon Bee. Well done over at the Bee.
All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Well, speaking of end times, Victor Davis Hanson joins us at 8:38 to tell us if we're in them. 8:38.
But now into the newsroom we go. Here's Mike Scott.
55 degrees, gray skies, some light rain sticking around for the midday. The U.S. has stopped funding for weapons for Israel. It's over concerns about a large-scale military offensive in the Gaza city of Rafah. The Biden administration has advocated against an offensive there without a plan for protecting civilians. Republicans this morning are pushing a bill to require proof of citizenship to vote in federal elections. House Speaker Mike Johnson warned of the threat of non-U.S. citizens casting ballots.
Because there is currently an unprecedented and a clear and present danger to the integrity of our election system. And that is the threat of non-citizens and illegal aliens voting in our elections.
The legislation requires proof of American citizenship to register to vote. States are assessing damage in the South after severe storms swept across the nation's southern states, killing 3.
I told my wife to, hey, let's get in the bathroom, and so we did. And she was listening to the news, and it said it was a touchdown. And, of course, you start getting nervous, like truly nervous at that point.
That resident in Columbia, Tennessee. Pfizer has reportedly agreed to settle over 10,000 Zantac lawsuits. Bloomberg News is reporting that Pfizer is settling suits over a cancer risk connected to the heartburn drug. FTX says it has plenty of cash to pay most of its creditors back in full, maybe more after its collapse. The failed cryptocurrency exchange said in a statement the plan would resolve disputes with both private and governmental stakeholders. The Sam Bankman-Fried company collapsed in 2020. A man will spend time in federal prison for unlawfully dealing guns in the Chicago area. Jesus Sanchez was sentenced to 5.5 years in prison. Prosecutors say Sanchez sold at least 7 firearms to an undercover law enforcement agent from April to June of last year. Chicago sports, Cubs lost to the Padres 3-0, while the White Sox were winners over Tampa Bay 4-1. 8:33, and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Charlie Kirk says they did this to themselves.
For the past 20 or 30 years, university campuses have been teaching a very specific worldview, that the world is broken between oppressors and oppressed. This is a Marxist way of viewing the world. These universities are being enveloped by a beast of their own making.
The Charlie Kirk Show. Afternoons at 1, right before Sebastian Gorka at 3 on AM 560. The Answer.
Balance of Nature supplements, changing the world one life at a time.
The fiber and spice is a very effective product. There's no question. A product that is very reliable. It's a very good product.
I swear by these. Probably the best products that I have ever used. I think they're just simply good for your body.
When I used to work, I used to do my art over the weekend all the time. And now I do yard work. I have been doing yard work. I can sweep my floor and make my place look nice. And I take Balance of Nature, and it feels really good.
Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer. And for a limited time, get 35% off your first order, plus $10 off any additional sets. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
I'm Larry Nora, founder and CEO of You Store It, a network of award-winning self-storage facilities in the Chicago area, and a customer of Signature Bank. We've developed over 70 storage centers throughout the city and suburbs, and our business continues to grow. We need a bank who understands the neighborhoods and communities where we are making investments. We found that in Signature Bank. They know this city and its neighborhoods because they are based right here in Chicago. Finding a local banking institution like Signature Bank has been critical to the success of You Store It, and we look forward to a long-term relationship.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. To learn more about turning your business vision into reality, visit signaturebank.bank. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
8:36. Let's get a check on the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. Kennedy inbound right now is at about an hour and 40 minutes from O'Hare into the Burns Circle interchange. It's jammed from the west end, I-190, all the way in right now. Kennedy outbound, it's 1 hour from downtown back out to the big airport. Now the Ike is at 90 minutes and falling right now from 390 to the old post office. Inbound, you're jammed North Avenue all the way to the Tri-State. Stevenson is 1 hour from 355 into DuSable Lakeshore Drive. Problems as you roll on the on I-80, solid traffic due to an accident. Left lane block eastbound between Larkin and US 30, 8094. An accident, left lane block eastbound between Burnham and Kennedy Avenue. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast in our ReviveYourLawn.com Weather Center. Cloudy, breezy, and cooler. High near 57. Rain in 55 right now. Next news at 9. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560 The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Thomas Sowell interview by Peter Robinson from a couple months back on the occasion of his latest book, Thomas Sowell's, asked essentially Peter Robinson asked if the identitarian left got everything they wanted, what would be happening in America right now? And Thomas Sowell said simply, we'd be killing each other. Yep. Certainly looks like Thomas Sowell was over the target, as he normally is, with just some of the manifestations of people, boy, if they weren't restrained at least a little bit by law enforcement, what they would be doing on college campuses and in urban centers. Now add in the possibility of a real economic downturn. The sugar high that we've been on thanks to a decade of quantitative easing, which is just loose monetary policy, which is just printing money, and combined with the massive print and spend that occurred during COVID. Well, there's some people suggesting that a significant downturn and market correction are not that far in the offing, as we're in a stagflationary environment. So you already have 3/4 of Americans basically saying things are not going well for me economically because my wages aren't keeping up with price increases, and now take a real hit to principle and go up the economic food chain a little bit too with that hit. There's some people that are worried, and even shocks to the system because of the monomaniacal focus on getting Trump and imprisoning him at all costs. Kevin Hassett, who was an econ advisor to Trump, he's a fund manager now, he had this to say about the circus in Manhattan and its potential economic impact, depending on what Judge Merchant wants to do, on with Maria Bartiromo yesterday.
But the big risk, the outlook for me is something I've never seen before. That I really think if you look at the case in New York, that the judge is being so, undemocratic, unconstitutional in his rulings against President Trump. It really looks like there's a conspiracy to put him in jail, to put him behind bars. And if President Trump is in chains going to Rikers Island, then, would you want to buy a U.S. Treasury the next day? The thing that I'm really worried about short-term risks for the economy is that the Democrats are serious in this lawfare, and if they actually succeed, then imagine it's like we become a banana republic the moment they take them to Rikers, and I just can't imagine what happens to Treasury markets that day.
Wow. So you think if that actually materializes, markets will take note?
Markets will take note, and it'll be one of the bigger market effects that we've ever seen.
We are on the razor's edge. That's what VDH is saying. Victor Davis Hanson, longtime classicist, California State University, Fresno, senior fellow at the Hoover Institution. He's got a new book that is out. Pick it up, of course. Pick up everything VDH has written. The End of Everything, How Wars Descend into Annihilation. The End of Everything is VDH's new book. VDH, thanks so much for joining us again. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
What do you think about what Kevin Hassett had to say? And I not even just on the narrow issue of Trump being imprisoned on some contempt charge by the judge in that Manhattan case, but in the context of everything that's going on around us.
Well, I know Kevin well. He's a colleague of mine at the Hoover Institution. He doesn't make wild accusations, and I think he's just formulating what all of us had already concluded, that the more this lawfare goes on, and I call it lawfare because these crimes have never been articulated or even charged against anybody else. They're all unique in their own way, and the longer it goes on, the longer people, both our enemies who say the Chinese and the Russians say, well, they're just like us, and more our allies get worried that we're tearing ourselves apart. And in terms of the economic realm, I think what he's saying is if the economy was booming, as Biden says, it wouldn't matter as much. They would just write it off at politics. But we're borrowing $1 trillion every 100 days. And the Build Back Better and the Inflation Reduction Acts were the biggest inflationary government boondoggles in history. So I think what Kevin's saying is that at this critical juncture, we need to be very sober and judicious in what's happening. We're turning into a third world Latin American dictatorship type of law, jurisprudence, and we don't have any margin of error. And I think he's right about that.
We talked to former Indiana Governor Mitch Daniels a little bit earlier in the show. We're talking about the campus chaos and vileness that's occurring on college campuses and in the streets, spilling over. Of course, we're all in one big college campus now. But a point he made, trying to look at the glass as half full, is don't forget about the dogs that don't bark. Don't forget about all the people on the college campus that are going about their business, that are serious students. Don't forget about the people that are being productive in the larger economy and so on and so forth. So how do you net that out when you consider that, of course, the people that make spectacles of themselves are going to get disproportionate attention, but it's not necessarily representative. And, it's sort of a 2024 version of the silent majority. Is that going to be enough to stave off some of this banana republicanism you're speaking of?
I hope so, but the problem in particular on these campuses are that the administrations and the faculty and the minority and the clear minority of students are in control of the apparatus, and they cancel the graduation. They give 80% of all grades A's at Yale. They are in tune with blue state mayors and governors, because these are all in mostly blue states, these troublesome campuses. It's kind of analogous to the larger picture that all of Biden's issues on the border, the economy, foreign policy, crime, they don't even poll 40%. But he's running neck and neck, supposedly, because this small minority controls the media, the foundations, K through 12, academia, many of the corporate boardrooms, entertainment, popular culture. So when you look back in history and you say, well, how in the world did the Bolsheviks ever take control? Nobody wanted them. The Mensheviks were much more popular. How come there was a reign of terror in 1793? The Jacobins were a bunch of crazy, wealthy, spoiled brats that started guillotining people. Or how did the National Socialists take control?
Did we lose VDH?
They only won 33. Yeah, they only won 33% of the vote.
Oh, VDH, we lost you there for a second when you cut out when you were talking about the spoiled brats of the
what
Jacobin
I was just saying
frames.
is that in history, these spoiled brats, they don't have a majority, is what I'm saying. And yet they exercise power, whether it's the Bolsheviks in Russia, where they were a minority, or the Jacobins during the French Revolution, or the National Socialists that had a minority of the vote in 1933. So they control the universities. They control the faculty, they control administration, they control the blue state mayors and governors, and they have the ability to cancel graduation for everybody. Or they result in 80% of the people getting A's at Yale. So I'm happy that none of the issues that Biden is promoting on the border crime, as I said, deterrence, have majority support, but he's still in power, and he's pretty close in the polls, because when you control the media and the entertainment and the popular culture, you have power that's not commensurate with your small percentage of popular support. And that's what I think the Republicans and concurrents have neglected. They have neglected the universities. They've neglected the power of the media. They've neglected the foundations. And I think they've sort of retreated into, I can't deal with these crazy people. I'm going to go to Tennessee, or I'm not going to watch the Oscars anymore, or I'm not going to send my kid to Stanford. But they need to get re-energized and say, you know what? These are not their institutions. These are our institutions. And we're not just going to give them up to these people in the 21st century. These institutions, the Rockefeller Foundation, was not intended to be as it is. And the Constitution didn't allow to get rid of the Electoral College, say, from this national voting compact they're trying to push. So I think everybody's got to get engaged, because, yes, they're a minority, and most students are wonderful students, speaking as someone who's on the Stanford campus. But I watch the people who are the radicals and the Middle Eastern students, and I know the faculty, and I know the administration, and they have the ability to, I guess the word is, wreck it for the majority. And they will if they're allowed to do that. And so far, I mean, if you look at Rutgers and Brown and Northwestern just recently, they negotiated. I mean, they gave these radical, violent protesters everything they wanted. They said there'll be Palestinian fellowships from Gaza. We'll have more Middle Eastern professors. We will use the word genocide and colonial and settler in our official communiques. So I guess what I'm saying is that absolutely right that the majority of students are wonderful, just like the majority of Americans. But we're dealing with something that we've never really dealt with in years. This isn't the Democratic Party. It's something different. It's a revolutionary, progressive, strident, intolerant, and they're willing to do any means necessary, whether it's lawfare or storm Hamilton Hall at Columbia or do anything. And they don't have popular support. So if just one college president said, you know what, if you break the rules, you're going to be suspended. If you're here on a student visa and you're suspended, you're going to go back to the Middle East. That would stop it.
Your book, The End of Everything, your new book, How Wars Descend into Annihilation, it provides some historical examples, as you're wont to do, of where war broke out and the on one side wasn't just defeated, they were annihilated, they were made extinct. And so, I mean, and I know there's a lot of parallels, and you've made some of them that are popular among conservatives, like to the French Revolution. But the historical examples that are cited in your book, are there parallels, maybe not perfect, but some parallels in terms of where we're at and what we should try to avoid doing?
Yeah, I think there are. It's very rare. Most wars, if you know, end in surrender. Even in World War II, we didn't annihilate the Japanese and Germans. We recalibrated or rebooted them. But every once in a while it happens, and I picked, ancient Thebes, Carthage, Constantinople, and the Aztec city of Tenochtitlan to show that sometimes it does happen, and is there a pattern? And there is a pattern. And there's other examples I alluded to as well, where these majestic civilizations feel that they're running on fumes and they don't reinvest in themselves, so they're financially strapped, or their militaries are weakened, or and they look at their walls and they say, nobody has ever breached the walls of Constantinople or Carthage. We're indomitable. And they underestimate their enemies. They have no idea who Scipio or Alexander the Great is. So when I look at the present time, and in the epilogue, I look at, Iran threatening Israel, Ukraine being threatened with nuclear weapons. The Erdogan said he had a solution for the Armenians that his grandfathers used. He said he would send missiles into Athens if he had to. We all discount that, just as these ancient examples. People said it can't happen here. Nobody would ever destroy the ancient city of Thebes, Oedipus, Antigone. Nobody would do that. So when I look at America, I think, well, we're spending all of this money. We're short 45,000 recruits that we've alienated, mostly white males from the working class who die at twice their demographics in Afghanistan and Iraq. We have this lawfare going on. Crime is out of control, and yet we withdraw in humiliation from Afghanistan. We can't deter the Houthis or Hamas or Hezbollah or Iran. And yet there's a sense of denial. We're the United States. This is what Biden always says. We're the United States. We got the best economy in the world. We're the strongest nation. But it's sort of decline is sort of like that famous line that everybody's quoting, and Hemingway's Sun Also Rises. Bankruptcy comes gradually, then suddenly.
Mm-hmm.
So if you look at what's going on, if you and I had this conversation 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 10 years ago, when I said to you, Biden is going to destroy the border and 10 million illegal aliens are going to come in and they're going to demand free housing and free shelter and food, or they're going to demonstrate. And we're going to have a resurgence of anti-Semitism that no one has seen in the West since the Nazis. You would have thought I was crazy. I would have thought I was crazy. Yet that's normal now. And so that's what happens with these societies. Very dangerous developments started to happen in Carthage, naivete, and they just said they won't do this, they can't do this. You don't believe the Romans would ever level it. Constantinople, people on the wall said the Western Rome from Rome will come and help us. The Sultan doesn't really want to destroy us. People said Alexander's, he was tutored by Aristotle. He would never destroy a language, a civilization, a city. And it happens. And so I'm just thinking that what prevents it from happening in our time and space is a strong United States. We make sure that the Houthis can't destroy the Red Sea commerce. We destroy the Eastern. We ensure that nobody interferes in the Eastern Mediterranean, the Straits of Hormuz. or the Black Sea, and all of those, just to take that example, including the South China Sea, no one controls those situations now except illiberal regimes that will, say you can't use the Red Sea, you can't use the South China Sea, you can't use the Black Sea, you can't use the Straits of Hormuz unless we let you. And that's pretty much what's happening. And so it's very insidious is what I'm trying to say, and denial and naivete and reliance on past and lost splendor, all of those symptoms, and then a complete underestimation of enemies. And I don't think we take seriously the Chinese at all. I don't think we understand what their agenda is, what their students are doing here, what their trade is intended for, what fentanyl going to Mexico is, what the idea behind that is from China. So there are similarities.
He is Victor Davis Hanson of the Hoover Institution. His new book, The End of Everything, How Wars Descend into Annihilation. Pick it up now. Victor Davis Hanson, thank you as always. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, and he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
The more you listen, the more you'll know. This is Chicago's Morning Answer. Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Gold rose significantly in the past 5 presidential election years. This election year, gold is up 15%. Don't believe paid celebrity hype on buying gold. Call America's gold expert, Dr. Mike Fulgens at Universal Coin and Bullion for my free award-winning gold guide. I've advised attorneys general on consumer protection. Don't overpay, as I won't add ridiculous markups. Call Dr. Fulgens. Dial pound 250 on your mobile phone and say Gold Expert. That's pound 250 and say Gold Expert.
Have you or anyone you know ever lived or worked at Camp Lejeune before 1987? Camp Lejeune's water systems were contaminated by chloride from fuel leaks on the property. If you had any contact with water while at Camp Lejeune and have been diagnosed with any type of cancer or Parkinson's disease, you could be entitled to compensation. Call us today. Do not delay.
800-447-3030. 800-447-3030.
Paid for by Morgan & Morgan. Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
All right, I want you to meet Julie. Julie was limping around. She was in pain, and she needed knee replacement. That's what one doctor told her, and she didn't want to do that, didn't have enough time, vacation time, to take off work for that, and who wants their vacation time to be spent recuperating? So she went to QC Kinetics for a second opinion. Well, guess what? She did not choose surgery, and Julie isn't limping around anymore. She's riding her bike and going for hikes, and she tells everyone she meets about QC Kinetics. QC Kinetics is an alternative to steroids, medications, and surgery. And QC Kinetics is partnered with the medical director, Dr. Mitchell Scheinkup. He's a pioneer in the field with 20 years of clinical work, teaching, and publishing. And I'd love to talk about your success story next. So don't wait. Summer is right around the corner. You want to be able to play golf, take those hikes, maybe play pickleball again. So if you have chronic pain due to an injury or arthritis in your joints, hip, knees, elbows, shoulder, call QC Kinetics for that free consultation. Again, it's a free consultation. You have nothing to lose. And they have appointments available on Saturdays. Call 312-809-5955. That's 312-809-5955. Again, 312-809-5955.
One of the most important decisions you can make as a parent is where you send your kids to school. But these days, it's never been harder to know which school is best. Public schools have changed a lot, and you might be thinking about sending your child to a private Christian school. But you also know that private school can be expensive, and in this economy, you might think it's not an option. Well, think again. With halfpriceschools.com, you can purchase tuition vouchers for half the price of normal tuition for private schools. For nearly 10 years, halfpriceschools.com has helped families from all over Chicagoland make the dream of private school a reality. And that can be the reality for you and your child, too. Just go to halfpriceschools.com, search for a private Christian school near you, and purchase a voucher. It's that easy. Visit halfpriceschools.com. That's halfpriceschools.com.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-355-4107 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-355-4107. That's 800-355-4107. What do you have to lose? Call 800-355-4107. Again, 800-355-4107.
AM 560, The Answer.
Michael in Crown Point was our third ticket winner this morning, those Patriots Fest tickets. Congratulations.
Yeah, it's May 18th.
Yeah, the Piazza in Aurora, patriotsfest.com. I've got some breaking polling news I wanted to share.
Oh, please.
This is just in. The dead worm found in RFK Jr.'s brain is polling higher than Biden in 11 states. That's from the Babylon Bee, of course. So good. I would actually vote for the dead RFK brainworm over Biden.
Would you?
Yeah.
Oh, he's going to get his own Twitter account soon.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm the worm in his head. Oh, my God. All right, thanks to Justin Kosick for making everything possible. And, of course, Quinn McCarthy. Couldn't do it without our morning zoo crew. Have a wonderful day. Now into the newsroom we go. Here's Mike Scott.
An accident claims a life on Lakeshore Drive overnight. Protesters gather outside of a Biden fundraiser, and Brandon Johnson lobbies Springfield. WIND Chicago News Time, 9.
Another stormy day in New York. I'm Chris Foster. Fox News former adult film star Stormy Daniels back for more testimony at former President Trump's criminal hush money trial in New York City about the one-night stand she says they had and the payoff she took to keep quiet ahead of the 2016 election. The former president saying again before heading into court.
There's no case.
Stormy Daniels testifies this morning she was asking for money to tell her story to get the truth out, and then chose to be safe instead, choosing the money to keep quiet. There's a risk for more actual stormy weather today from Texas to the mid-Atlantic. Yesterday was the second most active day for storms so far this year.
2 people were killed in Tennessee when tornadoes struck across the state. One death was in the town of Columbia, Tennessee, where Andrew Earl lives.
I got my phone out, started videoing it, and it started headed towards us. So I told my wife hey, let's get in the bathroom.